They're fast, ferocious, and hungry for meat. While you might feel safe watching them from a distance, if you're caught by one of these beasts in the wild, well, good luck to you, friend. Thankfully, there are ways to survive these feisty felines. Today we're ranking some of the deadliest wild cats on Earth. Each cat will fall into one of the following categories: might leave a scratch, threatening when angry, you're a large cat toy, dangerous and menacing, and finally, say your prayers. But don't cough up a hairball in fear. We'll teach you some life-saving tips if you find yourself face-to-face with one of these big kitties. And be warned, some of these furry friends might look cute and cuddly, but what they're capable of could scar you for life.
Long live the king.
I don't know about you, but Scar always scared me as a kid, and that's a cartoon. Imagine what a real African lion is capable of. You know what? Let me show you. Nicknamed the king of the jungle, the lion is not one to be messed with. Found across Africa, often in the savannas, lions can reach up to 11 feet from nose to tail, and some can weigh over 500 pounds. With the ability to run up to 50 miles per hour in short bursts, along with their incredible strength, the odds of surviving a lion attack are highly unlikely, unless you're packing some serious heat. To make matters worse, lions are the only wild cats who live in big groups called prides. They often contain over a dozen lions, but can be as large as 30 members, including moms, dads, brothers and sisters, uncles, aunts, and cousins, all living together. Family first, I like that. They're notorious for hunting in packs, which makes it easier to take down larger prey together, from herds of antelopes, giraffes, and yep, even elephants. As scary as the males look, it's the females you'll really want to look out for. Lionesses do the majority of the hunting. Either way, if you spot a lion, do what you can to keep your distance. They're fast, with razor-sharp claws and a powerful bite capable of breaking bones without much effort. If a lion spots you, stay calm, stand your ground, and do not make any sudden movements. You want to look strong and intimidating. Whoa, lion! Like bears, lions are known for doing mock charges. If this happens, try not to pee yourself and keep shouting at the lion. If it turns away, stop shouting, turn sideways, and walk away. But if they do attack you, you'll want to fight back. Aim for the head while protecting your own neck if possible, as that's usually what they'll aim for first. Although the odds aren't in your favor, people have survived lion attacks before, just not often. Although exact numbers are difficult to nail down, it's thought that lions are responsible for up to 200 human deaths per year, often the unfortunate result of those getting too close to their habitat. In 2015, a 29-year-old woman was on a safari tour taking photos when a lion lunged into her open car window and started biting her. Sadly, she didn't make it. If you're ever on a safari, do yourself a favor and keep your windows up. Lions are extremely lethal, so it's safe to say they'll be put in the say your prayers category. Oddly enough, they aren't found in the jungle despite the nickname. We'll cover the true kings of the jungle later in our list. But before we claw into that, make sure to like and subscribe for more incredible survival videos. The leopard is found in a variety of climates, from jungles, savannas, and in rare cases, snowy mountains. You can find them in Africa, China, the Middle East, and even Russia. Weighing up to 200 pounds and reaching 7 feet in length, excluding their tails, leopards can carry up to 3 times their body weight. They're known for bringing their prey up trees before they chow down, so I wouldn't bother climbing one to escape them. You can only imagine what they're capable of doing to a human. Not only are they strong, but they're also incredibly agile and stealthy. Odds are, you wouldn't spot one before it's too late. And if you live near their habitat, be extra careful if you have pets. In India, approximately 12% of this large cat's diet involves domesticated animals, which has significantly increased the number of attacks and deaths involving humans. And nearly 200 people were killed by leopards from 1992 to 2017 in Mumbai alone, and who knows what other attacks weren't put on records. Holy smokes, those poor villagers! Sometimes referred to as the spotted cat, the leopard is known for its yellow fur with black spots clustered throughout. However, leopards can also be all black, often referred to as the black panther. Although they're much tougher to spot, all black leopards still have prints. You just need to see them in the right light. And then there are their northern relatives, the snow leopard, which has lighter and thicker fur, especially in its tail. No matter which variety of leopard you come across, you'll want to protect your neck. That's where they'll usually strike first. But luckily, they're a bit more cautious than some of our bigger wild cats. They tend to go for smaller, easier prey, so keep your kids close. Like with lions, don't draw attention to yourself or try to provoke them. And once again, don't run. If you've seen how cats react to laser pointers, well, leopards love a good chase. I think it's safe to say the leopard has earned its spot in the dangerous and menacing category, but our next cat might be the best hunter of them all. Thankfully though, humans aren't on its menu. This little guy, believe it or not, is considered to be the deadliest cat in the world. Known as the black-footed cat, this kitty is a master hunter, taking down, on average, a dozen small birds or rodents a night. Found in the grasslands of southern Africa, these furballs are only about 1.5 feet in length and weigh up to 6 pounds. They've got quite the appetite thanks to their accelerated metabolisms. They're always on the lookout for a tasty meal, but don't let their 60% kill rate frighten you. They do most of their hunting at night, and if you happen to stumble upon one, they'd likely run away in fear. Still, that doesn't mean they aren't capable of attacking. Much like the common house cat, a good scratch or bite from one of these critters will hurt, but wouldn't be deadly. With that in mind, we'll place them in the might leave a scratch category. Like all cats, the black-footed variety is quick, but not nearly as fast as our next entry. The fastest land animal in the world. The cheetah is notorious for chasing quick prey. It's also a master at escaping predators. Capable of reaching top speeds of 70 miles per hour in just 3 seconds, their specialized muscles allow them to move in ways nothing else can. Even Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, wouldn't stand a chance. Ranked as the second most effective hunter next to the black-footed cat, cheetahs are masterful predators, but their metabolism allows them to go up to 5 days without eating. Wow, I knew they were fast, but I didn't know they could also fast like that. Found in Africa and parts of the Middle East, this spotted cat looks similar to the leopard, but is much smaller. Cheetahs are nimble and slender, weighing up to 125 pounds and reaching lengths up to 5 feet. With a flexible spine and muscular tail that helps with its balance, the cheetah can keep up with anything it goes after, changing directions at the drop of a dime. This is thanks to their shoulder blades. They aren't actually attached to their collarbones, which helps them move more freely. They tend to hunt gazelle, antelopes, birds, and rodents. But fortunately, human attacks are very rare. In fact, not a single fatal human attack by a wild cheetah has ever been reported, that we know of. If you ever do encounter a cheetah, back away slowly. If it continues to approach, make yourself look big by waving your arms and yelling at it. If worse comes to worse and it attacks, fight back. One thing is for sure, do not run. Even race cars struggle to keep up with them off the starting line. Given the lack of human attacks, cheetahs will be placed in the "you're a large cat toy" category. Our next cat also has a need for speed and blood. Imagine a house cat's head on a cheetah's body with ears like Yoda. Okay, maybe the Yoda part is a stretch, but the serval has really big ears in relation to its head. This medium-sized cat typically weighs around 33 pounds and reaches lengths just over 3 feet. Known as the cat of spare parts to some, the serval is part of the weird side of evolution, if you will. Along with its long ears, it has long legs, a stretched-out neck, and a tiny face. But thankfully, its diet mainly consists of small rodents, birds, and snakes. Honestly, if this thing was chasing me, I don't know if I'd laugh or run. All jokes aside, the serval is quite fast, capable of running up to 45 miles per hour. But thankfully, it isn't very interested in humans. Humans are much more interested in them, with some keeping them as pets. In 2018, a zoo in Indiana was hosting a birthday party and decided to bring out a 4-year-old serval for the kids to pet and interact with. Apparently, this was a regular occurrence for the zoo, but the cat seemed to have had enough of it. As a child reached to pet the cat from behind, it hissed, turned, and bit them on the head. Thankfully, both the cat and the kid were okay, but let this be a reminder to think twice about housing these cats as pets. Like any animal, instincts can kick in at any time, and for that reason, we'll place the serval in the might leave a scratch category. The same can't be said for our next cat though, which can be found throughout the United States and parts of Canada. Great. The bobcat is on the smaller side of our list of cats. And if you've been watching all our videos, I tend to say size doesn't matter. And trust me, for the bobcat, it really doesn't. Reaching just under 4 feet in length and weighing up to 40 pounds, bobcats may be smaller than you and I, but they're not afraid of us.
Karen Morris and her 13-year-old grandson were getting ready to walk the dog when they were attacked by a bobcat. Wildlife officers arrived and tried to capture the bobcat, but they were also attacked.
There have been several attacks on humans reported, which lands these pointy-eared predators in the threatening when angry tier. And trust me, you don't want to get them angry. Although most attacks leave painful scratches and bites, it's a confrontation most of us would want to avoid. As territorial creatures who hunt in the evening, bobcats usually cross paths with humans when they're going after their pets. But their diet normally consists of rabbits and small rodents. Still, they're also capable of killing animals up to 10 times their size, including deer. While all bobcats have black spots, their coats can vary in color from light gray, yellow, or a reddish brown. Like the lynx, they are known for their short tails and white undercoats. If you find yourself in a situation where you must defend yourself from a bobcat, you'll want to fight back, as it can be pretty vicious. With the ability to pounce from 9 feet away from its target, your best option is, you guessed it, appear big, yell, wave your arms, and try to intimidate the cat. If it does attack, odds are you can pick it up and throw it away. Seriously, it worked for this guy.
He was able to grab the bobcat and throw it away onto his lawn.
It turns out that specific bobcat had rabies, so if you do encounter one, especially one that seems overly aggressive, keep your distance. If you are attacked, fight back and maybe get a rabies shot to be safe. And don't wait around. Trust me, we covered what would happen if you don't get treated for rabies in another episode, and, well, it's not pretty. If you hear this sound while out hiking, run. Known by many names including puma, mountain lion, and catamount, the cougar is a fierce hunter and one of the most widespread terrestrial mammals in the world. They live from as far north as the Yukon to as far south as the Amazon rainforest. Unlike lions, cougars are mostly solitary creatures and masters of stealth. They are the 4th largest cat species, standing up to 3 feet tall at the shoulders and up to 7 feet long from nose to tail. And they have the largest hind legs out of any wild cat, making them expert jumpers. They can jump as high as 18 feet to scramble up a tree. Unfortunately for us, they prefer hunting large game. Everything from deer, mountain goats, and moose. Unlike cheetahs, cougars prefer to ambush their prey. They stalk from a distance, hiding in bush, rocks, and even trees before leaping onto the backs of their unsuspecting victims. And like many of the cats on our list, they'll go for your neck first. While attacks on humans are rare, they do happen. Make sure you remember this. If you see a cougar, don't stand still. They'll consider you easy prey. Back away carefully, throw rocks at it, yell at it, and do anything you can to scare it off. Over 130 attacks have been documented in North America, with 28 being fatal. Unfortunately, almost all fatalities from cougar attacks have been kids. That's why they're going in the "you're a large cat toy" category. You'll want to be especially careful if you're visiting Vancouver Island, where their population is the densest. And if you live there, they might even pay you a visit in your backyard. But you'll want to keep your wits about you in South America too, because they have more than just cougars down there. Next on our list is the 3rd largest cat in the world and pound for pound, the strongest. The jaguar. Relative to its size, the jaguar has the most powerful bite force of any cat. Males can weigh up to nearly 350 pounds and reach lengths of up to 6 feet, crowning them the true kings of the jungle. Their size and sheer power make them an apex predator in the Amazon, where most of the world's jaguars live. As opportunistic animals, jaguars will attack anything and everything they could sneak up on. From deer to monkeys, snakes to crocs, and everything in between, jags will hunt on land or in the water. Capable of crushing a turtle's shell. Just imagine what a jaguar bite could do to your body. Jaguars and leopards are often similar in appearance, sharing yellow fur and spots, but a major difference is their size, with jags having a huge advantage. And just like leopards, they occasionally have an all-black coat, and can also be referred to as Black Panthers. Wakanda forever! Now, regardless of its colors, my advice would remain the same. Back away slowly and do not run, as it may chase. Keep your distance and get to safety. If one manages to pounce on you, protect your head at all costs. While most wild cats will go for the neck, jaguars prefer the head. Their sharp canines will pierce the skull of their prey between the ears, resulting in a fast and deadly kill. And chances are, you won't even see them coming, even if you're taking a nice dip. Needless to say, this cat is going in the say your prayers tier. But we still need to talk about the most dangerous cat in the world to humans. With the most recorded human fatalities out of all the wild cats, you do not want to mess with a tiger. Tigers can be seen roaming the wilds of Nepal, Russia, China, India, and neighboring countries. They're found across all types of territory, from rainforests to savannas to mangroves. Reaching up to 660 pounds and lengths of 13 feet from nose to tail, it's safe to say that if you're being attacked by a tiger, you're as good as dead. Given their size and sheer power, the tiger is also going in the say your prayers tier. Notorious for being an apex predator, tigers will eat anything and everything. From small rodents and birds to deer and even buffalo, they'll strike when the opportunity arises. Capable of leaping great distances and heights, tigers are not only strong, but also incredibly agile. They have razor-sharp teeth, a bite more powerful than a lion, and claws that will tear you to shreds. If you ever see a tiger in the wild, you'll want to do your best to stay as far away as possible. Now, I know we didn't get around to the lynx, the ocelot, or the caracal because, well, there's only so much time in a video, but we'll throw these up on our rankings too for fun. Generally, these cats won't go after humans, but they can still leave quite a scratch. How much danger do you think you'd be in if this bear attacked you? Based on that video, you might not think you'd stand a chance. But luckily, there are ways to survive these terrifying beasts. Today, we're ranking some of the deadliest bears on Earth. Each bear will fall into one of the following categories: might leave a scratch, threatening when angry, I hope you packed bear spray, dangerous and menacing, and finally, say your prayers. We'll also let you know how to survive if you're attacked by one. That is, if survival is an option. And be warned, some of these bears look less dangerous than their kill count suggests. More on that later. Let's start things off with the cute and cuddly giant panda bear. Usually standing between 1.5 to 2 meters tall and weighing between 70 to 120 kilograms, the white and black giant panda bear is known for eating bamboo, up to 38 kilos of it every day. Pandas are only found in China, specifically in areas with dense forests and mountains. And they're hungry. These guys eat for about 16 hours per day. The good news is they're mainly herbivores, so they're not going out of their way to eat you. Still, the giant panda bear will be going into the might leave a scratch tier. As we mentioned earlier, they're plant eaters, and they love chomping on fresh bamboo, which is a tree. So obviously, their jaws are strong and could easily snap our bones.
The giant panda has a bite force of 1,300 newtons. That kind of jaw power ranks them just behind lions, tigers, grizzlies, and polar bears. Aside from their powerful bite, they've got incredibly sharp claws, capable of inflicting some serious flesh wounds. Thankfully, these guys are only likely to attack if they feel threatened by you. And odds are, the attack would lead to some serious but non-fatal injuries. Between 2006 and 2009, there were 3 panda attacks at the Beijing Zoo. All 3 of the victims survived, but each of them had severe bites to their legs. One needed help from a zookeeper to pry open the bear's jaws so it'd let go. Ouch. Ready to master bear encounters and survive the wild? Hit that like button and subscribe for more essential survival tips on how to survive. Moving on to a brighter note, let's focus on the sun bear. Also known as the Malayan sun bear, these little guys are found in tropical forests of Southeast Asia. I say little because, compared to the other bears on our list, the sun bear is pretty small. They typically weigh anywhere from 27 to 79 kilograms and stand at a height of around 1.5 meters on their hind legs. But don't get fooled by their size or their sunny disposition. These bears are one of the most vicious species on our list. Their coat is black in color, but include a distinctive brown collar below their neck. Sometimes referred to as the honey bear, like Winnie the Pooh, these things love honey. They'll also eat insects and any fruit they can find. And if they feel threatened, they're known to attack anything that stands in their way. There were 33 sun bear-related deaths between 2000 and 2010 in India's northeast state of Mizoram alone. Most of them were villagers and farmers who came too close to the sunny beast's natural habitat. And because of that, the sun bear is going into the high-risk category. Hope you packed bear spray. Now for our North American viewers, this one's for you. The American black bear, or just the black bear. Living in the forests and mountains of Canada, the United States, and Mexico, weighing between 90 and 170 kilograms, and standing 1.8 meters tall, the black bear can be incredibly dangerous. Like most bears, they've got sharp claws and large teeth and are incredibly strong. They can also climb trees and can swim pretty quickly. But the black bear isn't really looking for a fight. In fact, black bears are known to do what's called a bluff charge. This is how they test you. If you think a black bear is about to bluff charge you, try to make yourself as big as you can. Wave your arms, stand up on a rock if you can, grab a branch, but most importantly, stand your ground and remain calm. Back away! Not today, bear, not today! If you run, you significantly increase your odds of being attacked. Black bears tend to avoid fights unless they feel their cubs' lives are at stake. They may not be predatory like some of the other bears on our list, but if you manage to irritate one of them, especially a mama bear, I'd get that bear spray ready. And if you don't have any, try to scare the bear off by yelling and throwing things at it. Aim for the face if you can. Bear experts live by the following. If it's black, fight back. North America averages 1 fatal black bear attack every year. Their diet consists mainly of fish, fruit, insects, plants, and meat, but not human meat. This lands the black bear on the lower end of our list, threatening when angry. Black bears don't hunt humans, but some of these other bears sure do. Next up is the Kamchatka brown bear, sometimes referred to as the Far Eastern brown bear. Located in the eastern Russian peninsula of Kamchatka, these bears are incredibly unpredictable. This behavior lands them in our dangerous and menacing tier. Unfortunately, the Kamchatka brown bear is often hunted, as it's seen to be a trophy for those willing to pay top dollar. This has led to it becoming territorial, dangerous, and very aggressive. Standing roughly 3 meters high and weighing an average of 635 kilograms, it's no surprise you'd want bear spray handy to protect yourself. If you happen to spot a cub, the advice for this species of bear, or any of these bears, is the same. Don't get close and walk the other way. And don't lose your glasses. you'll need them to spot this next bear on our list. Up next, the only bear featured south of the equator. Introducing the spectacled bear. The name stems from the bear's uniquely colored fur, specifically the lighter patches around its eyes. Similar to the panda bear, the spectacled bear has no desire to attack humans and is quite shy. This lands it in the might leave a scratch category. Also referred to as the Andean bear, you'll find these guys in Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Venezuela, and Bolivia. That is, if you're lucky enough to come across one. Due to poaching and habitat loss, these bears are at the risk of extinction. Their diet consists of fruits, plants, insects, small rodents, and in some cases, cattle and other livestock. So it's no surprise that farmers living near spectacled bears are often looking for revenge. It's unlikely you'll ever come across one, but if you do, leave the poor thing alone. Help stop them from going extinct. Now let's venture up north. If you're planning on visiting Alaska anytime soon, you'll want to keep an eye out for these giants. The Kodiak bear is one of the largest bears on our list, standing nearly 3 meters tall and weighing in around 680 kilograms. These things are monsters. Primarily found in southwestern Alaska, the Kodiak isn't used to coming into contact with humans. However, if they do, they can cause some serious damage. This puts the Kodiak bear in the dangerous and menacing category. If you're ever attacked by one, you'll likely need immediate medical attention. Whether it's from a swipe of their giant claws or from their powerful, sharp bite, these guys can really mess you up. The light brown, shaggy fur is how you can identify the Kodiak, and they're often found fishing in local streams. Tourists often try to get close to these bears for photos or to even touch them. Yeah, I don't recommend that. Admire from a distance and stay on your toes. On average, there is one serious Kodiak attack per year, and it's almost always the fault of a way too curious tourist. Speaking of the north, what do the northern regions of Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Western China, and Nepal all have in common? If you said the Himalayan mountains, you'd be correct. They're also known to be home to the Himalayan brown bear. Funny enough, these guys are often associated with the legend of the Yeti, likely due to their elusiveness. But as unlikely as an encounter may be, the Himalayan brown bear is considered threatening when angry. Reaching up to 365 kilograms and standing as tall as 2.1 meters, their size doesn't seem to scare poachers who have endangered the species. However, if one of these guys is on the defensive, a threatened Himalayan brown bear will gladly tear them to shreds. They survive mainly on fruits and berries, but they've been known to feast on sheep and goats as well, so mind your distance. Just keep your eyes open during your mountain climb and you should be okay. Now let's head back up to the Arctic, where one of the world's deadliest bears is found. In Canada, Russia, Alaska, Greenland, and Norway, the polar bear is king. Weighing up to 770 kilograms and growing to a height of 3 meters, polar bears are called apex predators for a reason. To no surprise, the polar bear is going straight to the say your prayers tier. These guys are vicious. Polar bears eat seals, but have also been known to dine on larger prey like walruses, belugas, and yes, even people. While attacks are rare, polar bears have been known to kill humans. With a bite force of 1,200 psi and the ability to run up to 40 kilometers an hour when chasing prey, you do not want to come into contact with one of these beasts. And if you're being chased by one, well, your best bet is to fight back or play dead, although I'm not sure how long you'd have until you're actually dead. If you're ever traveling in the Arctic, make sure to bring a guide and to have a high-powered rifle handy. Now, if you hate the cold like me and would prefer to travel to Asia, you won't need to think twice about polar bears. However, that doesn't mean you won't want to have bear spray readily accessible. You never know when you might come across the likes of the Asian black bear, especially in China, Taiwan, Korea, or Japan. Compared to the American black bear, the Asian black bear, also known as the moon bear, is much more aggressive. And they're known to be far more carnivorous, so they'll have no problem feasting on you for dinner. The main difference in appearance between the American black bear and the Asian black bear is the trademark moon-like white patch of fur on its chest. In traditional Chinese medicine, the moon bear is highly sought after for its healing properties. Because of this, they've become an endangered species. Tiger attacks have also reduced their numbers. Their vulnerability is believed to have made them more aggressive over time. But they aren't the only terrifying bear you might find in Asia. Meet the Eurasian brown bear. The name says it all, as they're found across Europe and Asia. Although they're not usually aggressive towards humans, that can change rather quickly if you upset them. With that in mind, we'll be placing them in the threatening when angry category. Back in 2019, there was a spike in fatal attacks involving Eurasian brown bears in Romania. In just a single month, Eurasian brown bears killed 3 men. A total of 6 deaths occurred that year. By comparison, there were 11 deaths caused by bears in Romania in this 16-year span from 2000 to 2015. With an average weight of over 450 kilograms and heights reaching 2.4 meters, you'll want to remember the following motto: if it's brown, lay down. This applies to any brown bear on our list. Hold on though, it gets worse. The Eurasian brown bear has a far more aggressive neighbor. Don't let the name fool you, the sloth bear isn't as lazy as you may think. And given how rare they are, you'd be shocked to know how many humans they've attacked. For that reason alone, the sloth bear is being placed in the hope you packed bear spray tier. Sloth bears may be missing their front teeth, but their canines more than make up for it. And size doesn't always matter either. Weighing less than 225 kilograms and shorter than most humans at around 1.5 meters, the sloth bear is known for its unprovoked attacks, killing around a dozen humans per year. It's believed living among tigers has led to the sloth bear's aggressive behavior. So if you find yourself in India, Nepal, or Sri Lanka, be on the lookout for these long-snouted furry black bears. Be sure to keep your distance. It could be a matter of life or death. Just like if you find yourself in grizzly territory. Fun fact, statistically speaking, grizzly bears should fear us more than we fear them. Humans are responsible for up to 78% of grizzly bear deaths. And still, they're considered one of the deadliest bears around, placing them in the say your prayers tier. With a bite force of over 1,200 psi, an average weight of 680 kilograms, and heights of almost 3 meters, I think it's fair to say you might poop your pants if you ran into one of these guys. On top of all that, they can run at speeds of up to 48 kilometers an hour and are very territorial. They're known to maul their prey to shreds and can easily bite through bone. So your chances for survival are slim. They'll even continue attacking you once you're dead.
Oh my god, I'm gonna die!
They lurk in the shadows, watching, waiting. With 8 legs, multiple eyes, and a painful bite, these silent assassins are not the monsters of fiction. They are very, very real.
Within 5 minutes, he was down on the floor, screaming in pain.
From the sprawling jungles of India to the vast deserts of Australia and even the hidden crevices of your backyard, you don't want to be caught off guard when coming face to face with one of these creepy crawlers. Each spider will fall into one of the following categories: 8-legged anxiety, a web of pain, the kiss of death, and finally, an itsy-bitsy nightmare. Which spider is known for eating its lover? What spider's bite has led to amputations? And what species has the highest human kill count? Can we panic now? To get through this episode, you'll need to channel your inner Harry and Ron and get ready for shadow stalkers, paralyzing venom, and creatures that prove nature's smallest predators are often the most terrifying. Spiders have existed for at least 400 million years, even predating dinosaurs. They are still perceived by many as the aliens of Earth. From their freakish anatomy to their ability to spin silk, spiders are rarely greeted with a warm welcome when stumbled upon. Our first spider blends in easily, is shy, and also downright terrifying. The brown recluse spider. Starting strong with the brown recluse, stealthy, silent, and way too comfortable hiding in your home. It's the last thing you want to find curled up in a shoe or tucked into your laundry pile, but in the American South and Midwest, it's a common nightmare. These spiders aren't flashy, no bright colors or sprawling webs strung across your porch. Just a plain brown body with a violin-shaped mark on its back and a serious case of social anxiety. True to its name, the recluse shies away from trouble, hanging out in basements, attics, and closets. But mess with one, say while pulling on a forgotten shirt, and you're in for a world of pain.
Ooh, ouch.
At first, you might not even notice the bite. Over the next few hours though, the venom can cause your skin to blister, break down, and even rot away. Some bites leave you dealing with trips to the ER. Systemic symptoms like fever and chills are also on the table. Still, it's not all doom and gloom. Fatalities are basically unheard of, and most bites resolve with basic care. Remember, this spider isn't one to underestimate. The brown recluse is quiet, but its bite speaks volumes. So we're sticking them firmly in the web of pain. I thought there was one on me. Next, meet the Sydney funnel web.
If I slip a finger too close for just a split second, bang, he'll bite.
It's every Aussie's worst fear. Shiny, black, and armed with fangs that can pierce through fingernails. Native to eastern Australia, it haunts suburbs and gullies, weaving silk-lined burrows under logs and rocks. When prey triggers its silken trapwires, this spider lunges and drags its victims into the shadows for a venomous feast. Males are the real troublemakers. During hot, humid nights, they wander from burrow to burrow in search of mates, sometimes falling into backyard pools or creeping into houses, and yes, shoes. Funnel webs don't mess around. When threatened, they rear up to reveal massive fangs and strike with deadly precision. Their venom contains a powerful neurotoxin that targets the human nervous system. If you ever find yourself in a brawl with one of these beasts, you might think, that's it, I'm a goner. But luckily, since the creation of an anti-venom in 1981, there haven't been any fatalities. Unfortunately, this came too late for the first 13 victims, which puts this spider at the top of the human kill count list. Either way, a bite means urgent first aid. Wrap the limb, keep it still, and get to a hospital. Fast. This venomous legend down under belongs in our S tier. And by S, we mean scary AF. That's why we're putting them in the itsy bitsy nightmare category. It's tied with one other spider. Can you guess which one? We'll reveal it at the end of the episode, so stick around. Speaking of sticking around, we're trying to get to 2 million subs, and we're nearly there. If you're loving the show, your support goes a long way. Be sure to like and subscribe for more amazing survival content, and help us keep the lights on in our bunker. The Indian ornamental tarantula. Now we're heading down to the dense forests of India, where something fast, fierce, and freakishly beautiful lurks high in the trees. The Indian ornamental tarantula isn't your average ground-dwelling garden spider. No, this one's a tree-dwelling terror, cloaked in stunning black and white patterns that are more New York Fashion Week than Forest Floor. But don't let the looks fool you. This spider is shockingly aggressive and comes equipped with venom that'll wreck your day. We're talking severe pain, a raging fever, and a horrifying burning sensation. And here's the kicker, it doesn't need to bite to scare you. The sheer speed at which it can launch itself across a room is nightmare fuel on its own. This is The Exorcist on steroids. No deaths have been reported as a result of this tarantula bite, but the huge fangs produce nasty puncture wounds, which can lead to nasty bacterial infections if not treated immediately. It might be big, but it's not quite as dangerous as its competitors, which puts this creeper in the 8-legged anxiety category. The Black Widow Spider. The superhero Black Widow is named after this ferocious arachnid for a reason. They're one of the most infamous spiders to ever walk this earth. You'll usually find them in North American basements, garages, and wood piles. The Black Widow is as iconic as it is notorious. With its jet black body and blood red hourglass, it's not just a spider, it's a warning sign. Luckily, they'll only bite you if they're disturbed, and if they do, prepare for venom so potent that it hijacks your nervous system. Eesh, this sounds like something out of an episode of Black Mirror. At first, you won't feel much. Within an hour, you can expect crippling cramps, chest pain, and the feeling of numbness in your legs. The venom can also mess with your breathing, leaving you gasping for air. And while fatalities are rare thanks to anti-venom, the Black Widow still earns its notoriety as deadly, elegant, and cold-blooded. Oh, and let's not forget the post-mating snack. Males? They mate once, then become the female's dinner. For all the above, she's taking her rightful place in the kiss of death. Now, on to the Black Widow's close cousin, the redback spider. From the dusty corners of Aussie sheds, the redback spider is a danger armed with silk. This sleek black arachnid wears its signature blood-red racing stripe like a warning sign. These spiders lurk everywhere, including outdoor toilets. Yep, you heard that right. So next time you're camping in the outback and you need to go, make sure to look down first. Geez, first snakes, now spiders? What's next? Once a redback strikes, pure nerve-frying chaos ensues. Intense muscle cramps, crippling nausea, and profuse sweating are all hallmarks of a venom that messes directly with your nervous system, especially from the bite of a female. Sound familiar? And now onto the redback's love life. The male sacrifices himself during mating. Brutal! These spiders rarely leave their webs, but disturb one unknowingly and you're in for a painful ride. Anti-venom has prevented fatalities since its development, but make no mistake, the redback is not one to mess with. They're stealthy, seductive, and seriously deadly. That's why this venomous vixen spins its way straight into a web of pain. Our next spider has 2 fewer eyes than usual, but more than enough venom to make you watch where you step. The 6-eyed sand spider. If you thought the sandworms from Dune were scary, just wait until you see what creatures really lurk deep under the desert sands. We're heading to the bone-dry dunes of Namibia and South Africa. Hidden beneath a thin layer of sand waits a ghost with fangs, the 6-eyed sand spider. Nearly invisible, completely still, and built for ambush, this master of camouflage is a distant, deadlier cousin of the brown recluse. Disturb the wrong patch of sand, and this cryptic crawler springs to life, sinking its fangs into flesh with venom that eats you alive. Literally. The 6-eyed sand spider doesn't just kill, it dissolves. Let me explain. Its venom is packed with dermonecrotic enzymes. We're talking massive tissue death, wounds that won't heal, and in one suspected case, an entire arm lost. And the worst part? We've barely scratched the surface. With limited research available on it, the sand spider remains one of the most medically mysterious spiders on the planet. But what little we do know is terrifying. This desert dweller may not be aggressive, but with its ghost-like presence and flesh-melting venom, the 6-eyed sand spider is the ultimate example of terror in camouflage, earning its rank as a true kiss of death. The Chinese bird spider. A new terror emerges from the jungles of southern China, and it's not one you and many birds will see coming. Say hello to the Chinese bird spider, also known as the Chinese earth tiger, due to its sheer size and hairy striped appearance. This tarantula is one of the largest in Asia, making it a true beast. With females stretching up to a massive 85 millimeters, you're gonna want to keep some distance if your paths ever cross. And if the size doesn't intimidate you, its venom will. It's laced with potent neurotoxins. This spider's venom targets ion channels in your nervous system, shutting down signals between your brain and body. That means muscle paralysis, loss of control, and hours of agony. Aggressive when provoked and lightning fast, this spider doesn't give second chances. It's lethal, lurking, and loaded with venomous potential, making it a clear member of the 8-legged anxiety category. Our next arachnid is the red-headed mouse spider. Bold, bulky, and weirdly misunderstood. When scientists discovered it, they thought the male and female were entirely different species. Why? The female is a giant black tank of a spider, while the male looks like he's been dipped in red paint. Only after finding a mating pair did researchers realize, plot twist, they were the same species. These ground-dwelling demons build deep, silk-lined burrows along Australia's riverbanks, creeks, and suburban gardens. Most of the time, the females keep to themselves, but the males, they're daytime wanderers, and they emerge in late summer searching for trouble. These creatures are hunters, not gatherers, and they hunt with vengeance. Despite their cuddly name, they pack venom, and while serious bites are pretty rare, doctors treat every victim with a red alert because the bites look so similar to that of the Sydney funnel web. The good news?
Good news?
Funnel web antivenom works on red-headed mouse spider bites, meaning that if you've gotten bitten, it's likely that you'll be okay. So why mouse spider? Some say they live in mouse holes. Others claim they eat mice. Either way, this chunky little hunter is anything but cute. With its potent venom and proximity to the Sydney funnel web, the red-headed mouse spider lands squarely in the web of pain. The Chilean recluse spider. You won't hear it, you won't see it coming, and by the time you feel the bite, it may already be too late. The Chilean recluse spider doesn't charge, doesn't chase, it simply waits. Tucked away in drawers, coat sleeves, behind furniture, or deep inside that box you haven't opened in years. Native to South America, but now scattered across North America and Canada, it's a master of the stowaway game. Its soft brown coloring and slender frame disguise it as unremarkable until you spot the telltale violin marking on its back, just like our friend the brown recluse. I use the term friend lightly. Unlike most house spiders, the Chilean recluse comes armed with one of the most potent necrotic venoms known in the arachnid world. From painful ulcers to kidney failure and even death, its venom is a toxic cocktail of horror. If you do get bitten, make sure you seek anti-venom treatment within 12 hours of the incident. Otherwise, it could be too late. Quiet, reserved, and extremely toxic, the Chilean recluse spider doesn't need to be aggressive to be lethal. It's patient, and it's earned a rightful spot in Kiss of Death. The Brazilian wandering spider. Finally, we close the list with a spider that doesn't wait for you to come to it. It comes to you. Meet the Brazilian wandering spider. Native to South and Central America, especially Brazil, these spiders have ditched the web life in favor of the hunt. At night, they roam the forest floor, banana trees, hence the nickname banana spider, urban homes, clothes, and beds. They're aggressive, easily provoked, and not shy about standing their ground. With thick, hairy legs stretching up to 7 inches and a defensive posture that screams, "Back off," the Brazilian wandering spider is not messing around. Its venom is one of the most powerful neurotoxins on the planet. A single bite can cause extreme pain, muscle spasms, vomiting, and paralysis. Oh, and death. In one case, a 7-year-old bitten on the ear suffered seizures and full-body paralysis. The child was dead within 17 hours. In another unsolved case, Brazilian singer Darlin Moraes fell ill after being bitten on his face. He died shortly after being hospitalized. Now, it's unclear whether or not this was the doing of a Brazilian wandering spider, but the consensus is that was the case. A compound in its venom even causes hours-long painful erections in human males, leading to its consideration in experimental erectile dysfunction drugs. Despite this bizarre side effect, it's no joke. Fortunately, anti-venom has reduced the death toll in recent years. But there's a reason the Brazilian wandering spider tops danger lists worldwide. It's fast, it's toxic, and it's the perfect finale to our countdown. An undeniable, itsy-bitsy nightmare. So, I think it's pretty easy to understand why people have arachnophobia. Wow, I feel validated, you know? While not all spider species are harmful, when you cross paths with a venomous one, they sure do pack a punch. But we hope that this episode has taught you some valuable survival lessons. And if you think spiders are scary, imagine having a massive python wrap its scaly body around your neck. From sharks to crocs, the ocean is full of vicious predators who see you as just another meal. Incredible strength, serrated teeth, and a killer instinct are all ingredients for a vacation gone wrong. Thankfully, we can see these massive beasts from a distance, making it easy to avoid them. Unfortunately, the ocean is also full of creatures so tiny that we'll never see them coming, and they're just as dangerous. Today we're ranking some of the deadliest ocean predators. Each one will fall into one of the following categories: more dangerous than they look, would love to ruin your vacation, one wrong move, and you're done, and pray they don't notice you. There's no need to wet your bathing suit before diving in. We'll teach you some life-saving tips if you ever encounter one of these predators. The saltwater crocodile. As the largest living reptile, the saltwater crocodile is definitely not something you want to come across while going for a swim. On average, they're 7.5 to 11 feet in length, including their tails. But some can grow as large as 23 feet, weighing over 2,600 pounds. Good luck if you find yourself being attacked. As one of the deadliest creatures on our list, the saltwater croc is going in the prey they don't notice you category. Found in both brackish and fresh waters of eastern India, Southeast Asia, and of course northern Australia, spawning one of these in the wild will make you say, "Crocky, mate." Salties, as the Aussies call them, have the strongest bite force of any animal at a bone-crunching 3,700 psi. Combined with their signature death roll, they don't give anyone or anything much chance of survival. They usually eat fish, birds, and mammals, but have been known to feast on humans, including small children and unsuspecting swimmers. It's believed they kill, on average, 1,000 humans every year. So how do you survive one of these fearsome killers? If you are in croc-infested waters, do your best to keep calm. Splashing around and freaking out will only attract them. Get to shore as quickly and quietly as possible. Should one attack you, aim for its most sensitive spots. The eyes, nostrils, and, if you can reach it, the palatal valve behind its tongue. This will force water to flow into its throat, and if all goes well, it will release you. Our next creature is much more aggressive. One might even compare it to a bull seeing red. Bull sharks. Bull sharks are considered among the most dangerous sharks in the world. Their territorial and aggressive nature has led to their fair share of encounters with humans, ranging from 7.5 to 11 feet and weighing up to 500 pounds. They're found across all oceans, near coastlines and shallow waters. This includes the Gulf of Mexico, or America, the Amazon River, and Lake Nicaragua. With a diet consisting of fish, dolphins, and even other sharks, nothing is off the table for them. Technically, humans aren't a part of their regular diet, but they will attack you if you encroach on their territory, or if they're curious enough to try a new type of meat. And that's enough to land them in the would love to ruin your vacation category. Characterized by their short, blunt snouts, which they use to headbutt prey before going in for the kill, you'll want to be well aware of your surroundings if you're swimming in bull shark territory. To date, there have been 119 bull shark attacks, 26 of which were fatal. They have a bite force of 1,350 psi and can swim 25 miles per hour. So if you spot one, frantically trying to swim to shore isn't your best bet. Instead, you'll want to stay calm and slowly move away. Yeah, I know, easier said than done. If you're being attacked, aim for its eyes and snout, as these are the shark's most sensitive spots. It may be hard to do while it's ripping out pieces of your flesh, but you'd literally be fighting for your life at this point. The bull shark's size may intimidate you, but in the ocean, and in real life, as I like to say, size doesn't matter. Shout out to my short kings and queens.
Size doesn't matter.
The cone snail. Okay, you might think I'm joking here, but this little guy is no laughing matter, and it might make you reconsider ordering escargot. Cone snails are found in the Indian and Pacific Oceans, as well as in Australia, Hawaii, and California. They tend to live in shallow waters close to coral reefs, hiding in the sand, waiting to strike passing fish, or unlucky tourists. They range from 1/2 inch to 8.5 inches in length, but don't let their wee size fool you. They carry enough venom to kill a human, placing them in the more dangerous than they look category. Equipped with a harpoon-like tooth that releases neurotoxins, you'll want to avoid any contact with these things, especially because there is no real cure for their venom. Thankfully, cone snails are responsible for less than 100 deaths, but being stung by one and not getting immediate medical attention can lead to a painful, untimely demise. Depending on the size of the cone snail, the person injected with venom, and the amount of venom released, symptoms can range from mild pain to swelling and paralysis. In extreme cases, it can lead to respiratory failure and death. So it's best to leave these pretty looking shells in the sand. Now, our next predator doesn't pack a punch like Tyson, but it's just as deadly. Before we dive deeper into the ocean's most fearsome predators, make sure to like and subscribe for more aquatic nightmares to come. Box jellyfish. Most jellyfish will float around and wait for prey to get close enough to sting it. And trust me, I learned this the hard way in Florida. But there's one species that will actually try to hunt you. That's the box jellyfish. You'll find them in the Indian and Pacific Oceans, between Thailand, the Philippines, and Australia. They're only about 4 pounds and 1 foot in diameter, but their tentacles pack a tremendous punch. They can extend up to 10 feet and contain some of the deadliest venom in the world, which is why they're going into the prey they don't notice you category. Unlike most jellyfish, these guys can swim quickly. They'll chase after fish or shrimp up to 5 to 6.5 feet per second, so you better kick hard like Michael Phelps. Their sting releases a toxin that attacks your heart, nervous system, and skin cells. It's so painful that victims have gone into shock and drowned on the spot, or they suffered heart failure before they could make it to shore. If you do get stung, time is of the essence. Get immediate medical attention. Avoid touching or compressing the area, and do not ice it. This will cause more toxins to spread. A 2016 study found that of 15 reported stings, 6 were fatal. But one thing they all had in common: serious symptoms within minutes. These guys are responsible for 10 deaths on average every year. Moving on, some things are best to admire from afar, and our next predator is certainly one of them: the blue-ringed octopus. The blue-ringed octopus doesn't refer to just a single species, but instead a genus of octopuses varying in size. Their unique blue rings are what connects them all, which appear when they feel threatened. And if you spot one of these vibrant creatures while in the Pacific or Indian Oceans, you'll want to move as far away as you can. With venom potent enough to kill 26 humans within minutes, we'll be placing them in the one wrong move and you're done category. Ranging from 4.7 to 9 inches in length, including their tentacles, coming across one is highly unlikely. They often live on coral reefs and the sea floor, hunting small fish and crustaceans at night. Painless bites make it tough to know when you've been injected, but dizziness, nausea, and numbness in your extremities and face will get your attention. Once full paralysis kicks in, your breathing will start to slow, your blood pressure will drop, and if you don't get medical treatment in time, you'll eventually die. There isn't an antidote, but survival is almost guaranteed if you're put on a ventilator to help you breathe until the toxin wears off. To date, there have only been a handful of blue-ringed octopus deaths recorded, but why take a chance being a part of that statistic? Like the blue-ringed octopus, our next fish hangs out on the seafloor and coral reefs, and believe it or not, is considered the most venomous fish on Earth. The stonefish. Stonefish are found in coastal regions of the Indo-Pacific and are given their name because they're often mistaken for stones. As masters of disguise, they use their camouflaging abilities to hide from predators and ambush prey. The good news is that they're not aggressive and will never attack a human. The bad news is that if you accidentally step on one, you'll be injected with some of the ocean's deadliest venom. This obviously lands them in the would love to ruin your vacation category. With 13 spines across its back, each with 2 venom sacs that release under pressure, one misstep while exploring could be a death sentence. Of course, the more venom injected, the deadlier it becomes, and you'll know if you've stepped on one immediately. Intense pain followed by extreme nausea and tissue death are all common symptoms. To help increase your chances of survival, put the affected area in hot water up to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. This helps reduce the venom's proteins and buys you time. Get medical attention as soon as possible. Antivenom is available, but only used in severe cases. While the stonefish is known for being defensive, our next predator chases down anything and everything. The tiger shark. Reaching lengths of 18 feet and weighing up to 2,000 pounds, the tiger shark is another one of the deadliest sharks in the world. Their name comes from the dark stripes that appear on their bodies, though these tend to fade as the sharks age. With a diet consisting of everything from fish to turtles and even garbage, these sharks are opportunistic hunters, which means they'll have no problem taking a bite out of you if given the chance. We'll be placing the tiger shark in the one wrong move and you're done category. Known to roam from shorelines to the ocean's expanse, these sharks can be found in tropical and temperate waters. To date, there have been 142 unprovoked attacks on humans, 39 being fatal. As previously mentioned, these things seem to eat anything they can swallow, so if you're bitten by one, it may continue chowing down. And they can easily break turtle shells, so our flesh would be like a freshly baked piece of bread. Survival techniques remain the same as for the previously mentioned bull shark. Aim for its snout, eyes, or gills, as these are its most sensitive spots. Our next predator looks like a shiny pool toy, one you'll want to avoid at all costs. The Portuguese man-o'-war. The Portuguese man-o'-war is often mistaken for a jellyfish. Although they look similar, the man-o'-war is made up of a group of animals closely related to the jellyfish. That's right, this isn't just one organism, but 4 separate organisms working together, performing delegated jobs like reproduction and feeding to keep it alive. And if that doesn't send shivers down your spine, its stings certainly will. They may seem small above the water, but their tentacles can extend up to 165 feet and are highly venomous and painful. These things definitely earn a spot in the would love to ruin your vacation category. They're often found in tropical and subtropical parts of the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, as well as the majority of the Indian Ocean. They move where the wind or ocean currents take them. Sometimes they're found in groups of up to 1,000, and even when they're dead and washed ashore, they're still capable of stinging you. Their venom is normally used to paralyze prey, but if you get stung by one, the best case scenario is severe pain and blistering. The worst case is fever, shock, and possibly heart failure. If you are stung, submerge the affected area in hot water and rinse it with vinegar to neutralize the venom. For those wondering about the name, the man-o-war resembles a Portuguese warship from the 18th century. Who would have thought? Not me. The leopard seal. Okay, you might be thinking, a seal on this list? Really? Sure, most seals look cute and even make funny fart noises. But leopard seals will make you shit your pants. The leopard seal is often found in Antarctica, but some have reached the shores of New Zealand and Australia, giving some the scare of a lifetime. Ranging from 10 to 11.5 feet and weighing up to 840 pounds. Leopard seals are quick and vicious predators. With a diet consisting of only warm-blooded prey, interactions with humans can go either way. In 2003, researcher Christy Brown was drowned by a leopard seal in Antarctica. This puts them in the one wrong move and you're done category. With razor-sharp canines, their bites certainly pack a punch. And without the ability to hold their prey while ripping it apart, they resort to thrashing it back and forth in the water until pieces break off. If you're being attacked by one, fight back and aim for the seal's face or eyes. Don't let it drag you underwater. You'll have a much harder time breaking free. But that's nothing compared to what our deadliest and final ocean predator is capable of doing to you. The great white shark. The great white shark is one of the most feared apex predators of the oceans, and for good reason. Over 20 feet in length and weighing up to 4,500 pounds, you'll want to steer clear of them whenever possible. Capable of swimming up to 35 miles per hour and with an estimated bite force of 4,000 psi, great whites are going into the prey they don't notice you category. And if they do, you'll want to swim the other way, but keep an eye on the shark. With as many as 300 teeth arranged in up to 7 rows, a bite from a great white is like nothing you've ever felt before. And hopefully you'll never find out. Your best chance of avoiding an attack is to be aware of the shark's location at all times. Don't let it get behind you, as it can quickly shoot toward you and chomp down. Hard. And like the other sharks on our list, if one grabs you, aim for its sensitive areas like its snout or its eyes. Although they are found in all of the world's oceans, they tend to be more frequent along the coasts of the Pacific and Atlantic, as well as the Mediterranean Sea. Responsible for 351 attacks, 59 being fatal, great whites tend to take a bite out of their prey and then slowly wait for it to die. Surviving a great white attack depends on how severe the bite is and how quickly you can get medical attention. Often the cause of death is due to blood loss, so stopping or slowing bleeding is crucial while waiting for help. Well, if learning about all the things in the ocean that want to kill you doesn't make you want to go on vacation, I don't know what will. And by vacation, I mean going somewhere far from the water, like a desert or a nice mountain. How much danger do you think you'd be in if you came face to face with this reptile? From adders and alligators to crocs and komodos, reptiles are some of the most dangerous animals on Earth. For some, all it takes is one bite to kill you. Others may eat you alive. Today we're ranking the world's most deadliest reptiles on a tier list, using 5 categories of fang-marked fear. Might leave a scratch, threatening when angry, you're a piece of meat, dangerous and menacing, and finally, say your prayers. Komodo dragons may not have wings or the ability to flame broil their enemies like their mythological namesakes, but they still live up to their fearsome reputation. As an endangered species, you're less likely to run into them in the wild. But if you do, well, I hope you're a fast runner. They can chase you at up to 13 miles per hour. To Komodo dragons, you're a walking, talking snack, which lands them in the "you're a piece of meat" category. Growing up to 9 feet in length, they typically weigh over 350 pounds. As the largest lizards in the world, it's no surprise that they have huge appetites. Their venomous bite injects blood-clotting inhibitors that make you bleed out quickly. And with their curved and serrated teeth, they can tear through your flesh with ease. To make matters even worse, they've been known to carry up to 50 strains of toxic bacteria in their teeth from their last meal, so you can likely expect an infection or even septic shock. Komodos are masters of stealth and are known to ambush their prey. Even if you manage to escape their clutches, their forked tongues and a special receptor in their mouths, called the Jacobson's organ, help them to smell blood up to 5 miles away. This means that if you have open wounds or you're menstruating, you'll want to stay far away from Komodo Island. In the 34 years between 1978 and 2012, Komodo National Park recorded 24 dragon attacks, just 5 of them being fatal. So, while attacks are not common, if you find yourself face to face with the vicious Komodo dragon, here are a few things to remember if you want to survive. First things first, get out of its way. If you notice it before it can attack, you've already got a head start. If it charges or chases you, run in a zigzag pattern, as Komodos only run in a straight line. However, if the lizard does bite you, remember, time is of the essence. Fight back using anything you can find to get the Komodo dragon to open its mouth. Afterward, get medical help immediately. Your chances of survival depend on getting treatment as fast as possible. Our next reptile is an exotic pet that will squeeze the life out of you if you're not careful. The reticulated python is ranked as dangerous and menacing, and for good reason. It can, and will, eat a human if it's hungry enough. Originally found in the tropical forests of Indonesia, the Philippines, and other parts of Southeast Asia, snakes from the python family are now some of the most common exotic pets around the world. Like all pythons, reticulated pythons are constrictor snakes and don't have venom. Instead, they use their powerful muscles to coil around their prey, crushing them to death and then swallowing them whole. As the longest snake in the world, they can grow up to 32 feet long and weigh 385 pounds. It's no surprise that they eat a lot. They're known to snack on pigs, primates, and unfortunately, unsuspecting humans. As with any dangerous creature, if you come face to face with this deadly python, don't let it bite you. Just because it's not venomous doesn't mean it won't do damage. The most important part of survival, though, is to not let it wrap itself around you. If it has you in its grasp, try not to struggle too much, or it will squeeze even harder. Your best bet is to yell for help and stab the snake with something sharp. Remember that if you know there's a chance that you'll run into a reticulated python, always have someone else with you for help. Personally, I'll just stick to looking at them at the zoo, behind a thick pane of glass. This little lizard may have a scary name, but it only ranks in the might leave a scratch category. But don't be fooled. The Gila monster has the potential to leave you in the intensive care unit. Chances are slim that you'll bump into one though. Gila monsters live in the remote deserts of the southwestern United States and in northern Mexico. They're typically found in rocky foothills, so be careful where you hike. Growing up to 20 inches in length and weighing about 4 pounds, Gila monsters are quite small. Despite their size, these lizards are deadly. They have a venom that contains a neurotoxin that causes extreme pain, swelling, and changes in blood pressure. But the scariest part is that there's no anti-venom that can treat a Gila monster bite. Thankfully though, eating humans is not something these lizards are known for. They're small and shy. They'll only bite you if they feel threatened. Your best bet to survive them is to avoid them altogether. Do not try to touch one.
Yeah, he got me.
Yeah, it's very pretty, but it'll defend itself if it thinks you're a threat. I mean, how would you feel if a giant walked over and started petting you? If a Gila monster does manage to bite you, do not try to shake it off. This will only encourage it to chomp down harder. Try setting all 4 of its legs on the ground so it feels safe. If you're lucky, it might just let go. If it won't let go of your hand, pry the jaw open. Use whatever you can to get the lizard to release you. The fer-de-lance is a highly venomous snake that's found in tropical forests of the Americas and Asia. Growing roughly 7 feet long and weighing 13 pounds, these are the snakes that are responsible for the majority of snake bites in the Americas. They're species of pit vipers, known for their heat-seeking pit organs found between their eyes and nostrils. This terrifying snake can be unpredictable. The best way to stay safe is to back away from it. The fer-de-lance will often give warning lunges to scare you away. How considerate. If you're bitten, get to a hospital as fast as you can. They are highly venomous. On average, the fer-de-lance will inject its victim with 105 milligrams of venom. This is a problem, because that's twice the amount of venom needed to kill you. You can expect excruciating pain, nausea, fever, and heavy bleeding. And if you don't get the anti-venom, a slow and horrible death. The good news is that these snakes are nocturnal, mostly active at night, so you have a lower chance of meeting one during the day. Still, you should be on the lookout. Our next viper, the Russell's viper, ranks in the "you're a piece of meat" category. The Russell's viper is an extremely venomous snake found mainly in India. Growing to a length of 5 feet and weighing around 11 pounds, this viper mostly feasts on small rodents. The Russell's viper earns its spot on the tier list thanks to the tens of thousands of bites recorded each year in India. It has a very potent venom that causes severe paralysis, blood loss, multi-organ failure, and you guessed it, death. Anti-venom is crucial for the treatment of these bites. So if this viper gets its fangs in you, get yourself to a hospital immediately. Pro tip, don't try to suck the venom out. That's a survival myth that only works in the movies. Sucking on it with your bacteria-filled mouth can lead to an infection, and it can cut off blood supply to the wound, causing even more damage. Like the fer-de-lance, Russell's vipers are nocturnal, but that doesn't mean you can't accidentally step on one during the day. I recommend thick boots. The king cobra is an off-the-charts venomous snake that ranks in the say your prayers category, with the potential to grow up to 18 feet and weigh up to 20 pounds. The king cobra is the largest venomous snake and the king of this terrifying tier list. Found throughout forests, swamps, and streams in Asia, these guys love humidity and trees. With distinctive expandable hoods, they're easy to spot and come in a variety of different colors. They mostly feed on other snakes and even lesser cobras. Luckily for you, these snakes are pretty shy and don't actively try to hunt us. Most bites happen when they're startled or when people try to scare them away. Their venom is strong enough to kill 11 humans or a grown elephant. Yet, despite their dangerous reputation, king cobras are responsible for roughly only 5 deaths per year. If you stumble upon a king cobra, you'll know it's upset with you if it raises its head and expands its signature hood. If this happens, back away slowly and leave the snake alone. But if you get cornered by one, your best bet is to try to scare it off. Try to look bigger by waving your arms, making loud noises, and throw sticks or rocks at it. It will likely slither away. That said, if you come across one near their nest, which looks like a dome or a mound of leaves, you'll want to say your prayers. King cobras are very territorial and will guard their nests for 2 months or more. If you are bitten by a king cobra, do not use a tourniquet. A tourniquet will trap the venom in one area, leading to a possible amputation. Call for help immediately and get yourself to the hospital. You'll need anti-venom quickly before you're paralyzed and can't breathe. And it should go without saying, don't try to pick them up and kiss them for likes on YouTube. That would be a royal mistake. The Nile crocodile sits atop the dangerous and menacing category. Living in the fresh waters of Africa, this terrifying predator can grow up to 19 feet long and weigh around 900 pounds. With a bite force of 5,000 psi, it would crush your skull like it crushes watermelons, with ease. As an ambush predator, the Nile crocodile will lay still for hours, days, or even weeks, waiting for the perfect opportunity to pounce. It mainly eats fish. However, it will have no problem hunting anything and everything that crosses its path, including humans. If you see this crocodile, Stay on land and do your best to not let it drag you into the water. Grab onto trees, boulders, or bushes. If this ruthless reptile gets a hold of you, attack its head, especially the eyes. Don't try to force the crocodile's jaws open. You can't. Instead, scream for help and get ready for the deadly death roll. The croc will likely pull you underwater and roll you around aggressively to drown you and get rid of any of your limbs that get in the way. Your best bet at this point is to attack the palatal valve behind its tongue. This will cause the water to flow into its throat, forcing it to release you. Our next fearsome reptile rhymes with baboon and could easily kill one. Gaboon vipers are very shy and elusive snakes, but just like the category says, they're very threatening when angry. Found in Central and Western Africa, they are one of the heaviest vipers, weighing around 18 pounds and growing to be 7 feet in length. While there have been no documented fatal bites from gaboons, their venom still packs quite a punch. Their 2-inch fangs inject plenty of venom into their prey. But here's the kicker. Unlike some other snake venom, the gaboon's hemotoxins can cause necrosis. And if you aren't quick to treat it, doctors may need to amputate a limb to save your life. Thankfully, like some other snakes on our list, they'll give you a warning if they're not happy with your presence. If you see a gaboon flattening its head and hissing at you, back away in the same direction you came from. And if you are bitten, get to a hospital ASAP. Hey, if you're enjoying the episode so far, make sure to like and subscribe for more deadly animal videos. The green anaconda is a fearsome beast that earns its rightful place in the "you're a piece of meat" category. Anacondas live in the shallows of rivers and creeks in South America and use their olive green coloring to blend in. They are one of the longest and largest snakes on Earth, growing up to 30 feet and weighing around 550 pounds. Anacondas don't seem to care much about the size of their prey. They're known to eat small animals like rodents and will also attack larger animals like deer, making humans fair game for hunting. But despite what you might see in the movies, there are no records of anacondas actually eating people. This snake has no venom. Instead, an anaconda uses its massive body to crush its prey to death and swallow them whole. If you are walking in an area known for anacondas, make sure to take someone else with you. And if you see an anaconda and its tongue is flickering, it means it's hunting. Run. And stay on land since they aren't as fast on solid ground as they are in water. If you are bitten, don't try to yank yourself out of its mouth. The snake's teeth curve backwards, so trying to pull yourself out will only do more damage. Ask your friend to pry open its mouth so you can unhook yourself from its fangs. Like reticulated pythons, anacondas will try to suffocate their prey before swallowing them whole. If the snake is coiled around you, make sure not to exhale. That allows the snake to coil tighter, leaving you unable to get air back into your lungs. And this next tip may sound bizarre, but if a hungry anaconda has a grip on you, bite it. Biting the snake's tail will cause it extreme pain, and if you can't get to its tail, try to poke it in the eye. No one likes being poked in the eye, and well, the same goes for snakes. The inland taipan is the most venomous snake in the world, forever putting it in the say your prayers category. Found in the remote black soil plains of Queensland, Australia, this snake's scales vary between shades of brown and can even change color depending on the season. Growing to a maximum of 5.5 feet and around 4 pounds, the inland taipan is a small to medium-sized snake that eats rodents. Its venom is the most toxic in the world. One bite has enough potency to kill around 100 adult humans. It also has an enzyme that helps increase absorption, making it a surefire death sentence to anything that gets in its way. Once bitten, you can expect vomiting, complete paralysis, and a slow and painful goodbye. Luckily, this species rarely encounters humans. It's very shy and reclusive. But if you do happen to get bitten by one, call for help immediately, while you still can. Use pressure bandages to wrap the affected limb and slow the spread of the venom. Try to stay calm. Lay down in the recovery position to keep your airway clear, and wait for medical treatment. Without a dose of antivenom, the inland taipan's bite can kill you in 40 minutes. The black mamba. Let's throw this one in the dangerous and menacing category. Considered the most dangerous snake in Africa, the black mamba can grow to be 18 feet and weighs 3.5 pounds. Although it has an aggressive reputation, this snake doesn't hunt out humans as prey. Living on a diet of small mammals, the black mamba typically slithers away from humans when it sees one. However, since it's a territorial snake, if it's cornered, it will strike fast and multiple times to ensure its victims are injected with enough of its extremely toxic venom to immobilize them. The venom attacks the nervous system and heart. Just 2 drops are enough to kill a grown human in 20 minutes. Although most black mamba bites are fatal, the snake is only responsible for a small number of deaths. To survive a run-in with a black mamba, wear thick, long clothes and work boots. Keep your distance and back away slowly. Don't try to approach or touch the snake. They tend to hide out under rocks, logs, and even termite mounds, so make sure to be alert if you're walking in their territory. If this venomous snake bites you, stay calm and control your breathing. You want to minimize the spread of the venom, so lowering your heart rate is crucial. Call for help and get yourself to a hospital before it's too late. And now, for the deadliest reptile on our list that isn't a snake, the saltwater crocodile. This one definitely belongs in the Say Your Prayers category. The saltwater crocodile is the largest reptile in the world, reaching 23 feet long and weighing up to 2,000 pounds. And like its African counterpart, the Nile crocodile, it has an incredible bite strength of 3,700 psi. True to its name, this ferocious crocodile is found in the salty coastal waters and rivers of Southeast Asia, Northern Australia, and Micronesia. They're extremely territorial, highly aggressive, and will eat any living creature that gets in their way, including other saltwater crocodiles. They're responsible for a staggering 1,000 human deaths per year. Your best bet to avoid being breakfast is to steer clear of them altogether. Keep an eye out for warning signs on beaches, rivers, and other areas where they're commonly found. If you end up crossing paths with one, back away slowly. Make sure not to splash water since that attracts the crocodile's attention. If it charges at you, run. And not in a zigzag like with Komodos. That trick doesn't work on these guys. Stick to a straight line and get away from them as fast as you can. If you're already in the water, well, good luck. Their powerful tails can propel them up to 20 miles per hour. If this bloodthirsty beast chomps down on you, try to fight back by aiming for weak spots, like its eyes and snout. And just like the category says, say your prayers.
Answer on my face! Answer getting on my face! I mean, of all the death by animal scenarios, I think being stung by murder hornets is at the top. And they do kill about 50 people a year in Japan on average.
The kissing bugs carry a parasite which can cause Chagas disease. It can be deadly and show up as heart failure years after the infection.
Today we're ranking some of the world's deadliest insects. Each insect will fall into one of the following categories: creepy crawler pain, small but aggressive, venomous killers, and silent death dealers. And I'll tell you right now, you may be surprised to learn that a certain medieval disease is making a comeback thanks to fleas. Which insect is invading Australia? Why did indigenous tribes use ants for surgery? And of all the diseases mosquitoes spread, which one is deadliest?
I just started to feel very, very weak. One day you wake up and you're so weak that you can't hardly get out of bed. I just got weaker and weaker and weaker until I was so weak I couldn't stand on my own.
Found in Africa, the tsetse fly isn't much larger than the average housefly. Their color varies from yellow-brownish to dark brown, but one thing is for certain. These guys can carry a deadly parasite that could lead to your last sleep. The parasite, Trypanosoma brucei, can cause sleeping sickness, a deadly disease if left untreated. All it takes is one little bite from the tsetse fly to infect you, putting them in the silent death dealers category. Initial symptoms are often similar to those of the common flu, including fever, weakness, aches, and headache. As the disease progresses, it affects the brain and nervous system, leading to confusion, convulsions, and, if left untreated, death. Although there is no vaccine, treatment usually requires hospitalization and can be administered via pill or IV. As a safety measure, patients are also monitored for 2 years. Avoiding sleeping sickness is the best way to survive it. Wearing long sleeves, pants, and bug spray can help, but it doesn't guarantee anything. In 2023, fewer than 600 cases were reported, a significant improvement from the 38,000 cases confirmed in 1998. Moving on, our next insect has a bite that burns like hell. thought I sealed this bunker.
Ants are on my face! Ants are getting my face!
Photos show the extent of the painful bites.
Fire ants can be found across the southern United States from California to Virginia, and have also invaded Caribbean islands, New Zealand, Taiwan, Canada, China, and Australia. Although small, often 4 to 5 millimeters, their bites can be incredibly painful. If you happen to step on one of their nests, prepare for a world of fiery pain. After biting you, their venomous stings lead to an intense burning sensation, hence the name. Symptoms also include itching, swelling, and blistering. Great, all my favorite things in one experience. But to make matters even worse, some people are allergic to the ant's venom, which can lead to trouble breathing, swelling of the throat, vomiting, and in severe cases, death. That places these little demons in the small but aggressive category. The ant's location can affect your ability to avoid them. Sometimes they nest under rocks or logs, but in some cases, like in Queensland, Australia, they're taking over everywhere.
Fire ants could creep all the way to far north Queensland by 2035, potentially stinging more than 1.5 million people, causing almost 31,000 of those to have an anaphylactic reaction.
Up next, anything with assassin in their name is sure to be deadly, but where it lands on this list may surprise you. Commonly found in South America, specifically Brazil, the assassin caterpillar is only 2 inches long, but don't let its size fool you. These things are deadly.
Caterpillar?
These masters of camouflage can blend in easily with their woodland habitats.
And you'll never see me coming.
And with venom that interferes with blood clotting, we're placing them in the creepy crawler pain category. Their bodies are covered with bristles that can puncture our skin and release venom. However, it usually takes 20 to 100 stings to have significant effects on humans. If you happen to touch one accidentally, or on purpose, you'll know pretty quickly. First, you might start to feel itchy. Then come the swollen, painful welts that spread around the area. And if you're particularly unlucky, you can expect headaches, fevers, and vomiting. After 24 hours, things can quickly take a turn for the worse. Internal bleeding, kidney failure, and brain damage are all common. Without medical intervention, death is imminent. Okay, wow. Look, don't touch. Words to live by. Without antivenom, those who are dealing with severe symptoms will need to be admitted to the hospital ASAP. Time is of the essence. The sooner you're treated, the less severe your symptoms will be. Since 1989, Brazilian health officials have documented more than 600 cases of assassin caterpillars injecting their venom into people, including 12 deaths. At least you don't have to worry about being swarmed by these things. The same can't be said about our next insect.
My symptoms came quickly. My throat tightened up and I couldn't speak.
The Asian giant hornet, nicknamed the murder hornet, is as terrifying as it sounds. Good enough to land them in the venomous killer category. Native to Asia, specifically China, Korea, Japan, and northern India, they're not hard to spot, being 1.5 inches long. The murder hornet injects venom with every sting, but unlike, say, some of your typical bees, these things will attack you over and over again. If that happens, you can expect swelling and intense pain that can last for days. In most cases, one sting won't kill you, unless of course you're allergic, which can cause anaphylaxis, so you choke to death in horrible agony. But even if you're not allergic, multiple stings from dozens of angry murder hornets will inject enough venom to kill anyone. Staying away from their nests is the best way to avoid being attacked. If you are stung by one, apply ice and take an antihistamine to reduce swelling. You can also take aspirin for the pain. Believe it or not, despite their human kill count, around 50 annually, they get their murderous name by the absolutely nature is metal way they kill honeybees. They chew off their heads, abdomen, and legs and bring what's left back to their nest. Yeah, it's brutal. Moving on, we have an insect that survives by feeding on your blood.
We do know that Taylor Gase died from plague.
Katie O'Donnell is with Larimer County Health and Environment. Investigators believe Taylor contracted the plague by being bitten by fleas near his home.
With more than 2,500 species of fleas worldwide, there are only a few you really need to worry about. And that's because they can carry deadly diseases, like the literal plague. I thought that was ancient history. Great. Commonly associated with house pets such as cats and dogs, fleas can also be found in tall grass and bushes. They survive by sucking on human or animal blood and reproduce quickly. These little leapers are being placed in the silent death dealers category. If you see a small red circle on your body and it's itchy, you might have a flea bite. Some of the diseases they carry won't show any symptoms immediately, and these can often be mistaken for more common viruses. Aside from the plague, fleas can also carry cat scratch fever, marine typhus, and parasites such as tapeworms. Thankfully, antibiotics are available and often clear up any issues related to the after effects of a flea bite. Even those of you without pets should be aware of the dangers of fleas. And for any avid gardeners out there, you'll want to pay close attention to our next insect.
If they feel threatened, they have the ability to open the joints of their legs pretty much and excrete blood, which then comes into contact with the skin and causes the blister.
Blister beetles are found worldwide, and like fleas, there are over 2,500 different species. They all produce a chemical that can cause blisters on your skin, and even inside your body. Jeez. Painful? Of course. Gross? You bet. Deadly? Sometimes, but only in severe cases. We'll be placing them in the creepy crawler pain category. They're quite small, growing up to an inch, and come in various colors. Some are bright, while others are black, gray, or brown. The beetle's blood contains cantharidin, which causes the blistering. The good news is that a thorough wash with soap and water is all you need if you notice them in time. But if you get some of their blood on your hands, then rub your eyes or put your hands in your mouth, things can escalate quickly. We're talking permanent damage to your eyes, severe kidney damage, and in extreme cases, death. So wear gloves when gardening and you'll most likely be okay.
Look at the result of a single sting on one of our crew.
Seriously, what am I going to do?
Take more antihistamines, good?
Because I have taken two, really and truly I have.
When?
And it hasn't made any difference.
Honeybees are great for the environment, specifically pollinating more than 130 types of fruits, vegetables, and nuts.
You like jazz?
For many ecosystems, they're important, but for some people, they can be deadly. Whether or not you're allergic, if enough bees sting you, the outcome can be fatal. This puts them in the venomous killer category. If you've never been stung by a bee before, well, let me tell you from personal experience, it hurts like a You can expect painful swelling and possibly an embarrassing selfie. Poor guy. But if you're allergic, I hope you brought your EpiPen because you'll be in for a whirlwind of nausea, anaphylactic shock, and death if you're not treated in time. According to the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, hornet, wasp, and bee stings kill an average of 72 people per year. And that includes a 62-year-old Texan who was swarmed by 40,000 bees when he accidentally knocked down a hive while mowing his neighbor's lawn. Man, poor guy, he was just trying to be a good neighbor. Your best way to survive a bee attack is to keep your distance from their hive, respect their space, and avoid disrupting them. When they sting, you feel pain, they die. It's a lose-lose scenario. But a bee sting is nothing compared to what some would call the kiss of death. Assassin bugs cover more than 7,000 different species of insects found all over the world. Although not all of them are deadly to humans, most of them have an incredibly painful bite, and some spread a terrible disease that will haunt you for life. For this reason, they'll be going squarely into the silent death dealers category. They range in size from ½ inch to 1.5 inches and can be gray, black, or brown. Other species are orange, red, or yellow, but the ones you really need to worry about are kissing bugs. They're often found in Central and South America, but have also popped up in the US, Canada, and Mexico. They prefer warm, moist climates and are known to bite people around their mouths. But it gets worse. Kissing bugs poop while biting, and their feces can carry a parasite called Trypanosoma cruzi. If that enters your body, you may get infected with Chagas disease. Some show no symptoms at all, while others tend to have mild flu-like symptoms. If left untreated, the parasite can stay in your system, and according to the CDC, 20 to 30% of people later develop serious complications like an enlarged heart, an irregular heartbeat, or even a heart failure. Sadly, there is no cure for Chagas disease once it reaches the chronic phase. If diagnosed early enough, you'll be prescribed an antiparasitic medication and it should clear up quickly. To stay safe, avoid areas known for infestations and use bug spray. A bite from one bug while you sleep is bad enough, but imagine being bitten by hundreds of thousands.
The jaws may slice through human flesh like butter, but it's simply a warning.
Across Africa, driver ants can be found in grasslands, rainforests, and scrubland. Also known as safari ants, these little guys can be found in armies of up to 50 million.
That's a lot.
They're just over half an inch, but their strength in numbers earned them a spot in the small but aggressive category. Unlike other ant colonies, which usually stay put, driver ants change locations frequently. They eat anything and anyone in their path. Now the good news is that even though they move about 65 feet per hour, you should be okay as long as you watch where you walk. If you're taking a nap or have a few too many drinks, well, that's a different story. Hundreds could swarm you and you'll be rudely awakened by a flurry of painful bites. We're talking puncture wound level bites, and in severe cases, skin lesions. Ugh, gross. And it's not as simple as just pulling the ants off of you. Oftentimes, they clamp down so hard that attempting to remove an ant leads to its decapitation. Ironically, in the past, their jaws were used by indigenous tribes as natural sutures, helping to stitch wounds. Surviving a colony of driver ants in your home is simple. You just need to call an exterminator. If they're outside, leave them be. They kill other bugs, keep the ecosystem in check, and don't stay in one place for long. And finally, our last and deadliest insect on our list.
Triple E, or Eastern equine encephalitis, can cause severe neurological issues and has residents so concerned that officials in one town are recommending a 6 p.m. to sunrise curfew.
Mosquitoes are the most dangerous animals in the world, responsible for an estimated 1 million deaths annually. More than half of those deaths, approximately 600,000, are caused by malaria. Other diseases including dengue, West Nile, Zika, Triple E, and yellow fever are responsible for the rest. And most of these diseases show the same symptoms: vomiting, headache, fever, and joint pain, with an unfortunate end result being death. It's no surprise that they belong in the silent death dealers category. You can take comfort in knowing there are vaccines and antibiotics to handle these diseases. Sometimes our immune systems are naturally strong enough to do the work. But in some poorer communities with less medical aid available, outbreaks can kill thousands. Prevention is the best way to survive mosquitoes. Vaccines, bug spray, and awareness of any confirmed cases in your area can also go a long way. It's also ideal to reduce your time outside after sunset when mosquitoes are more frequent, and wear clothes that cover as much of your body as possible. And if you're fine with looking a little silly, you can always wear one of those mosquito netting suits. It's no Met Gala showpiece, but hey, it's functional fashion. All in all, even if these insects are small, they're certainly deadly. Being aware of any insects testing positive for parasites or diseases where you live is a great way to keep yourself safe. A general rule of thumb for survival is respecting Mother Nature. Otherwise, you may find yourself in a rough situation.
How much danger do you think you'd be in if this snake bit you? Most of us have no idea. On one hand, its bite might just leave us with a simple flesh wound, or we could be dead in a matter of minutes. Today, we're ranking some of the deadliest snake species in the world, separating them on a tier list. Each snake will fall into one of the following categories: walk it off, ask Dr. Google, ask a real doctor, rush to the hospital, or say your prayers. Pay attention, because I don't want to be dramatic, but it could be the difference between life and death. Let's begin our ranking with the colorful coral snake, found in the forests and grasslands of the southern United States and parts of South America. The coral can reach lengths of over 1 meter, and it's painted vibrant hues of red, yellow, and black, creating a mesmerizing pattern. This one is going straight to Ask Dr. Google. You'll see why. First of all, encounters with this snake are extremely rare, as they're pretty reclusive and they prefer to flee rather than confront you. And when they do attack, corals have to chew on you to inject their venom, so their bite hardly ever results in death. Their venom can take up to 13 hours before it starts to affect you, but then it can be life-threatening. You may lose the ability to breathe. That being said, encounters with these snakes are so rare that we'll place them in a category where finding information online, combined with medical attention if needed, is the recommended approach. Okay, now we take you down under to meet one of the most dangerous snakes on the planet, the eastern brown snake. They can be found from the sun-drenched suburbs to the rural expanses of eastern Australia. The eastern brown snake grows to about 2 meters and has a slim build. It's colored a variety of earth tones ranging from light brown to almost inky black, and its small fangs will inject around 4 milligrams of venom on average. Doesn't sound like a lot, right? Well, you don't need that much to be lethal. Their venom contains powerful toxins that affect your nervous system, heart, and liver. It will also make your blood coagulate, causing strokes. So every bite is a potential death sentence. That's why we're placing the eastern brown in our deadliest category. Say your prayers. This serpent alone is responsible for approximately 60% of snakebite deaths in Australia. A lot of those deadly bites happen when people try to kill the snakes, so if you see one, don't try to pick a fight, just keep your distance. All right, next on our list, not just a type of snake, but a group of species that spread from North to South America. Known for their chilling warning sound, rattlesnakes are as fascinating as they are feared. Some can grow to 2.5 meters. Most of them are green or light brown with diamond blotches. We're gonna put these snakes on our Ask a Real Doctor tier. While a rattlesnake's bite delivers venom that can cause severe tissue damage, swelling, and pain, it's not necessarily a death sentence. Thanks to advances in medical science, anti-venom treatments are highly effective, drastically reducing the chance of serious complications or death. The best survival tip is to stop in your tracks if you hear that distinctive rattle. This snake is not looking for a fight, it's asking for space. Slowly back away and you can both go your separate ways unharmed. All right, now we're venturing into the heart of sub-Saharan Africa to meet the Gaboon viper. Their bodies are light and dark brown with purple diamonds and stripes along their back. They can grow to a length of nearly 2 meters, and their 5-centimeter fangs are the longest of any venomous snake. And they're capable of delivering a massive dose of venom in a single bite. But this snake's gentle nature and the effectiveness of medical treatment for its bite place it firmly in the Ask a Real Doctor tier. An encounter with this elusive viper is pretty uncommon, and bites are even more rare. Most incidents occur when the snake is accidentally disturbed by humans, so make sure not to provoke it. Its venom is a potent cocktail that attacks your cells, damages your tissues, and causes swelling. Okay, next we have the garter snake, a misunderstood critter often spotted in backyards and gardens across North and Central America. The garter is small and thin, but can reach up to 1 meter in length. It has a series of stripes that run the length of its body. The stripes will vary in color, often blending in perfectly with their surroundings. Now, the category for this snake is going to be walk it off. Venomous might sound alarming, but in the case of the garter snake, it's more of a technicality than a threat. Their venom is so mild that it poses no danger to humans. At most, a bite from a garter snake might leave you with a bit of an itching or slight swelling. Just wash the area with soap and water and you'll be fine. And the next time you spot a garter snake slithering through your garden, give it a nod of thanks for its pest control efforts. Okay, back to Australia. This time the desert regions of the outback, where the inland taipan makes its home. Reaching an average length of 2 meters, its light brown body seamlessly camouflages into the desert landscape. The inland taipan earns its spot on the Say Your Prayers tier, not through its body count, but through the sheer potency of its venom. It holds the crown as the most venomous snake on the planet. The poison from a single bite of this snake is enough to kill 100 adults. The venom is a cocktail designed to immobilize and overwhelm its prey in minutes. It spreads quickly, causing headache, vomiting, and paralysis. Luckily, this shy reptile is pretty chill and rarely seen in its dusty homeland. But in the unlikely event of a bite, It's crucial to seek medical attention immediately. Antivenom treatment is remarkably effective if administered promptly. Okay, the last snake on our list is a stealthy menace that lurks in the forests and farmland of South Asia, the common krait. With a slim bluish-black body ringed with white bands, this snake blends into the night and attacks silently. Some species can reach up to 2 meters, but the average length of a common krait is about 1 meter. That doesn't make it any less dangerous, and we have to place this one on the rush to the hospital tier. The venom of the common krait is a potent neurotoxin that causes muscle paralysis, leading to respiratory failure. If left untreated, 70 to 80% of krait bites result in death. The scary thing is the bite is initially painless. Some victims sleep through a bite and wake up in a critical, sometimes irreversible medical emergency. In areas where the common krait is known to roam, precaution is key. Set your sleeping area up off the ground and enclose sleeping spaces within mosquito nets to make a barrier against these nocturnal visitors. If you think you've been bitten by a krait, the absence of pain does not mean you're safe. Get medical attention immediately. Antivenom can mean the difference between life and death.
This is the Fer-de-Lance snake. One venomous bite from this 7-foot-long pit viper can lead to an excruciatingly painful death. Something 61-year-old Canadian Michael Lovat just barely survived. He was enjoying his vacation in Costa Rica. That is until he felt an intense pain in his foot.
He was bleeding from his gums. He was bleeding from his eyes as well.
The venom was destroying his blood and shutting down his kidneys.
He was at risk of bleeding to death at any point.
The Fer-de-Lance, on average, injects 105 milligrams of venom in a single bite. It takes a mere 50 milligrams of venom to kill a human. So one bite is almost a guaranteed death sentence.
If they hadn't got that anti-venom to me, my kids would have been coming to a funeral. That was scary. It was real scary.
Thankfully, Michael was able to make it to the hospital and get the appropriate antivenom in time, which is the only way to survive a nasty bite from one of these things. Although he was bitten in Costa Rica, these snakes can also be found in Brazil, Ecuador, Peru, Colombia, northern Argentina, and Venezuela. Parts of Central America and Mexico are also considered home to these killers. They're usually found in tropical forests, but have also been spotted in deserts and lower mountain regions. So watch your step wherever you go, as they're known to be extremely aggressive. And given their title of the most dangerous snake in Latin America, you do not want to accidentally step on one of these guys. But they aren't the only snake you'll want to avoid while you're there. With its lush jungles, mountains, rivers, and ocean coastlines, South America is one of the most biodiverse regions in the world. It's home to a wide range of animals, from giant snakes to killer frogs, bloodthirsty fish, and even ones that may shock you. Literally. All these animals have one thing in common. They can kill you within minutes. Some within seconds. We'll be counting down South America's deadliest animals. But don't worry, fellow travelers. We'll include survival tips along the way so your vacation doesn't end with you in a hospital or a casket. What type of South American frog has killed the most people? Why are some villagers afraid of giant anteaters? And can an anaconda really swallow a human? Make sure to like and subscribe so you'll be prepared to survive all that South America has to offer.
This is the thing, they can be there and you just don't know it.
The black caiman is considered one of 3 apex predators in the Amazon. We'll get to the others later, but for now, let's focus on the alligator's bigger sibling. Growing to more than 16 feet in length, the black caiman is known to eat fish, water birds, and the occasional mammal that gets too close to the water. This includes deer and jaguars. Of course, they've also eaten humans in rare but unfortunate cases. In fact, over 80 people have been attacked in the last 20 years, several of them being fatal. These beasts are native to the Amazon basin and live in Ecuador, Brazil, Bolivia, Peru, Guyana, Suriname, Venezuela, and Colombia. With a bite powerful enough to snap a turtle's shell, you'll want to keep your hands and feet far away from them. They're incredibly territorial, especially around their babies. And despite their massive size, like most of their prey, you probably won't even see them coming. That's because they usually hunt at night. Their dark scales make them almost impossible to spot. And to make matters worse, being at the top of the food chain, they literally have no fear. If they want something for dinner, like a jaguar, they'll just take it. If they're hungry enough, they've been known to even eat their babies. If you're attacked by one, you want to do whatever you can to remove yourself from its powerful jaws. And even then, you'd need to get medical attention immediately, as these things can and will rip you to pieces. Your best bet is to stay far away from them. Trust me, your Insta-reel can wait. While the black caiman is certainly big and terrifying, don't let our next animal's itty-bitty cuteness fool you. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Size doesn't matter. At least, that's what I keep telling myself. But if you guys don't believe me, just ask one of these little guys. The poison dart frog. There are around 200 species of poison dart frogs, all with different vibrant colors. But it's the golden ones you'll really want to look out for. They're the most toxic, with enough potency to kill 10 to 20 adults just by touching them. To no surprise, they're the deadliest frog in South America. If you accidentally encounter one or are mesmerized by its beautiful colors and decide to pick it up, well, that could be deadly. Found mainly in the tropics of South America, their toxins have been commonly used on darts made by indigenous tribes to hunt large prey using blowguns. If you make direct contact with one, you'll want to wash your hands immediately and avoid touching your eyes, mouth, or nose. This will reduce your likelihood of going into cardiac arrest. Unlike snake venom, there's no way to counteract the poison, so don't even think about adding them to your exotic pet collection. Before we try to survive the next deadly animal on our list, I have to show you guys my new stylish ring, the Huntsman. It's made of tungsten carbide and polished elk antler nestled between twin ribbons of aged whiskey barrel oak. It's rugged, romantic, and ready for action, just like me. And it's from today's video sponsor, Gentle Bands. Gentle Bands has all your survival bling covered. With tons of unique rings exquisitely handcrafted from rare, sustainably sourced materials like meteorites and dinosaur fossils, there's truly something for everyone. And if you like to grab life by the horns like me, you should check out their Tough Guy collection. These rugged rings are perfect for the rugged man, embodying spirit and courage. Look, I get it, wearing a ring while working out or playing sports can sometimes get in the way. Thankfully, Gentle Bands offers stylish chains, so you can always keep your ring close to you without affecting your game. They also offer cufflinks if you really want to dress to impress. And the great part is, you can even get your ring custom engraved for free. Perfect for gift giving. Want to get your hands on one? Click the link in the description below and use my code HOWTOSURVIVE for 25% off at checkout. Now back to the show. Right up there with the black caiman on the apex predator food chain, we have the jaguar. Located in remote areas of South America, with the largest population residing in the Amazon rainforest, these cats are incredible hunters. With males reaching lengths of up to 6 feet and weighing up to 348 pounds. It's no surprise they're the kings of the jungle. Known for their agility paired with stalk and ambush attacks, they tend to go after capybaras, but can also quickly chow down on deer, birds, crocs, fish, and whatever else they can get their claws into. Although encounters with humans are rare, these stealthy hunters will do whatever they can to survive. Attacks usually happen when farmers try to save their livestock, or in rare cases, their pets. The best advice I could give if you encounter a jaguar would be to slowly back away. Don't run, as it may chase, seeing you as prey, and they're much faster than humans. Instead, try to keep your distance and get to safety. If one manages to pounce on you, fight back as hard as you can. Protect the back of your head at all costs. Jaguars are known for biting the skulls of their prey with enough force to puncture their brains. If you think that's shocking, just wait for our next animal. Next up, we have the most electrifying on our list, the electric eel.
Sorry, I couldn't come up with anything better. My brain is zapped. Growing up to 8 feet in length, these flat-headed knifefish are often found in the murky streams of the Amazon. Their diet mainly consists of other fish, but they've been known to dine on small birds and mammals as well. While they likely wouldn't shock you dead in one go, their powerful electric attack could certainly trigger a series of events leading to an untimely death. Enough shocks from an eel can cause respiratory issues, heart failure, and drowning, even in shallow waters. With the power to deliver up to 860 volts, grazing one of these would be like touching an electric fence. This initial jolt isn't usually deadly, but it's absolutely painful enough to fend off most predators. Although they're usually found in the water, they come up for air regularly, where they get 80% of their oxygen intake. So be careful dipping your toes in the water on your next jungle cruise. Like the eel, our next animal is also a picky eater. That weird long-nosed thing is the giant anteater. They usually avoid humans and will only attack if they feel threatened. Growing up to 8 feet long, from snout to tail, they're usually found in wetlands and tropical forests. Their diet consists of ants and termites, which they dig out using their long, knife-like claws. And those sharp claws have been responsible for killing humans. In 2012, a 47-year-old hunter was mauled to death by a giant anteater while trying to protect his dogs. Sadly, their sharp claws punctured his major arteries, and he couldn't be saved in time. With poor vision and lousy hearing, giant anteaters can get startled fairly easily, which can lead to a defensive attack. This, on top of a superstitious belief that they bring bad luck, is enough reason for many to avoid them. If you are attacked by one, seek medical attention immediately. It could be a race against the clock before you bleed out. And don't go crossing the river either while you're bleeding, or you might have several hundred little problems to deal with. Now, if you're a fan of the water like me, you may want to think twice before diving into the fresh waters of South America. This is the piranha. Maybe they won't attack you quite like they do in movies, but you still wouldn't want to get bitten by one. Or several. Commonly found in rivers and floodplains across South America, piranhas have been known to eat human flesh.
Just when they thought it was safe to go into the water, came an attack from an unusual source. A group of carnivorous fish started biting the bathers.
In 2013, they attacked numerous swimmers in Argentina.
One health official said there were some people that the fish literally had torn bits of flesh from.
While more than 70 beachgoers were attacked, incidences like these are quite rare. Usually piranhas will stick to scavenging for plants or the corpses of animals and other fish in the water. But when there's not enough food and desperation kicks in, their will to survive often takes over, which is why humans occasionally fall victim to their bites. The odds of being bitten to death by piranhas are relatively low, as most deaths are usually due to drowning. That's when the piranhas tend to jump in for a feast. In 2022, piranhas in Paraguay were responsible for the death of 4 people and injured 20 others. Your best bet is to familiarize yourself with piranha territory and avoid going there in the dry season. This is when their food supply is scarce, as water levels fall dramatically. And if you really want to steer clear of them, go for a night swim instead. Actually, well, the piranhas might be sleeping, but the caimans and jaguars will be wide awake. So, yeah, don't even bother. If a piranha ever bites you, get out of the water as fast as you can and seek medical attention to ensure you can stop the bleeding. And maybe don't go in the water with open wounds or, I don't know, carrying a raw steak in your pocket. Trust me, you'll regret it. Much like piranhas, our next animal is small, but just as deadly as any other on our list. We can't talk about South America without mentioning their deadliest spider. Believe it or not, these little killers can spice things up in the bedroom. Usually found in the forests of Costa Rica, Colombia, Peru, Brazil, and Paraguay, these spiders contain enough venom to kill a human within an hour of being bitten. Symptoms of the toxin include extreme pain, swelling, paralysis, heart attacks, and painful erections lasting up to 4 hours. Wow. But don't get me wrong, there are plenty of things that excite me. including the #1 animal on our list. Meet the green anaconda. Weighing up to 550 pounds and reaching 30 feet in length, it's no surprise these giants are up there with the black caiman and jaguar as apex predators. Found in swamps, marshes, and the tropical rainforests of the Amazon, the green anaconda is at home in the water or on land, making it one of the most threatening. They will eat everything and anything, including deer, birds, turtles, caimans, jaguars, and in some cases, humans. Although they don't normally feast on us, I would avoid getting close if you're ever in a situation where you see an anaconda. They can undoubtedly swallow you whole thanks to their jaws being held together by stretchy ligaments. To test this theory, conservationist and filmmaker Paul Rosalie decided to create a carbon fiber suit, cover it in pig blood, and get eaten alive by an anaconda.
The last thing I remember is seeing the snake's mouth open straight at my face. Everything went black, and then I just felt, it was like being caught in a wave. It was just wrapped up, and just you feel that crush. And I just, for over an hour I was being constricted.
Thankfully, he was able to make it out of that situation alive. But the odds wouldn't be in your favor if you didn't have a carbon fiber suit and someone monitoring your heart rate. Now, this is just a handful of the deadly creatures lurking in South America. We didn't even mention the bull shark, the kissing bug, or the monkey-hunting harpy eagle.
Giant hornets that murder entire bee colonies. A disease-ridden critter that kisses you goodnight. And a huge venomous centipede that might attack you in your home. These are not scenes from a horror movie. They're real insects lurking in the wilderness of Asia. Insect-related deaths on this continent are more common than you might think, with some species claiming thousands of lives annually. Today we'll be venturing into the world of Asia's most dangerous insects, exploring what makes them so unique, and most importantly, how to survive them. If you want to be prepared for animal attacks, natural disasters, and more deadly scenarios, hit that subscribe button. We'll start our list with one that made it to North America at the worst possible time. We're talking about the notorious murder hornet, also known as the Asian giant hornet. These flying threats are native to East Asia, particularly Japan, Korea, and China. But they made a brief appearance on the North American West Coast in 2019 and 2020, making headlines right in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic.
As if COVID-19 weren't enough to worry about, there is now a murderous hornet from Asia here.
These hornets thrive in low mountain regions and forests, feeding mainly on other insects, particularly honeybees, which they hunt in groups. They're also the largest hornets in the world, growing up to 2 inches long with a wingspan of 3 inches. With powerful mandibles capable of decapitating bees, they are a force to be reckoned with. Their primary defense is their venomous sting, packed with potent neurotoxins, which can penetrate even the thickest beekeeping suits. Their stings have been compared to being jabbed by a red-hot fire poker. And if you're stung more than once, you could go into anaphylactic shock, which could kill you in minutes. While they're not typically aggressive to humans, they will defend their nests at all costs. They've caused several deaths in Asia, particularly in Japan, resulting in up to 50 fatalities per year. To avoid an encounter, do the obvious. Steer clear of their nests, especially in the late summer and early autumn when they're most active. If you're stung, clean the area with soap and water. Apply a cold compress to reduce swelling and take an antihistamine to alleviate the reaction. If you suffer an allergic reaction, use an epinephrine injector if you have one and get to a hospital as quickly as possible. But if you thought murder hornets were scary, our next insect lurks in the shadows and packs a serious bite. The Chinese red-headed centipede is a relentless predator that can take down prey much larger than itself, including small mammals and reptiles. Its venomous bite, delivered by modified front legs called forcipules, isn't just painful. It's designed to paralyze its victims almost instantly. With a cocktail of over 20 different toxins, its venom can cause intense, burning pain that radiates through the body, sometimes lasting for days. In rare cases, its bite can lead to kidney failure,
respiratory distress, or anaphylactic shock. Oh, and if that doesn't scare you enough, its ability to climb walls and ceilings means it can strike from virtually anywhere. So keep your eyes open and your wits about you. But what truly sets the Chinese red-headed centipede apart is its resilience. They can survive being submerged in water for hours, endure extreme temperatures, and even regenerate lost limbs. But fun fact, when they're roasted and dried, they work wonders for treating back pain. Your best bet is to steer clear of dark, damp areas. And if you live near them, seal any entry points and keep your home dry. They love moisture. Luckily, our next insect is easier to spot, especially at a black light party. This is the Asian giant forest scorpion, one of the largest and most dangerous scorpions in the world. Trust me, you do not want to step on one of these. They can grow up to 9 inches long and have a shiny black and greenish body with large, powerful pincers. They are nocturnal hunters, feeding on insects, small mammals, and even other scorpions. Their primary defense is their venomous sting, which they use to subdue prey and defend themselves from predators. While their venom is not usually fatal to humans, it can cause intense pain, swelling, and in some cases, severe allergic reactions. To avoid these scorpions, be cautious when moving rocks or debris in forested areas. If they happen to sting you, do your best to clean the wound with soap and water, followed by applying a cold compress. Then maybe take an aspirin or two, as you'll be in a world of pain. Our next insect may be smaller, but it's just a kiss away from a slow and painful death. The kissing bug is a silent killer that can cause severe damage to your internal organs with just one smooch. They are found in rural areas across Southeast Asia, often hiding in cracks and crevices of old houses. These bugs are about an inch long with a characteristic cone-shaped head, and they're notorious for biting around the eyes and mouth, hence the kissing name. Kissing bugs feed on the blood of mammals, including humans, and are particularly active at night. The bugs themselves aren't venomous, but their poop contains a parasite which can cause Chagas disease. This disease affects an estimated 6 to 7 million people worldwide, with symptoms ranging from mild fever to severe cardiac and digestive issues that can be fatal if left untreated. If you suspect you've been bitten by a kissing bug, seek medical advice immediately. Early detection of Chagas disease is crucial, as treatment with anti-parasitic drugs can prevent it from progressing. No list of dangerous insects would be complete without mentioning mosquitoes, and the Asian tiger mosquito is one of the deadliest. Originally from Southeast Asia, this mosquito has now spread to many parts of the world due to global travel and trade, including North America. Thankfully, you can identify it by its black and white striped body and legs. Like all mosquitoes, the females feed on blood, which they need to produce eggs. The real danger from this variety are the diseases it transmits, including dengue fever, Zika virus, and West Nile virus. It's also responsible for millions of cases of disease each year, with tens of thousands of deaths attributed to dengue fever alone. To protect yourself, use mosquito repellent, wear long sleeves and pants, and eliminate any standing water where mosquitoes can breed. Our next creepy crawly sounds like the name of a mischievous cover band. Blister beetles are a group of insects known for the dangerous toxin they produce. And, well, for blisters. They're found mainly in fields and gardens where they feed on plants. If they consider you a threat, blister beetles will release cantharidin, a toxic compound that can cause severe skin irritation, blistering, and if ingested, potentially fatal poisoning. This compound was historically used as an aphrodisiac known as Spanish fly, but it is highly toxic. Yeah, I'd stick to long walks on the beach and being a good listener. To avoid these beetles, be cautious when handling plants in infested areas. If you come into contact with one, do not crush it, as this will release more cantharidin. Speaking of creepy crawlers you shouldn't crush, you'll want to look out for these furry little nightmares. This deadly critter is the poisonous Japanese caterpillar, a tiny creature that packs a venomous punch. Known by the Japanese as the Chadokuga, it's covered with bristle-like spines that are filled with venom. The venom contains a potent hemotoxin that can cause severe reactions in humans, including hemorrhaging, kidney failure, and even death in extreme cases. These caterpillars feed on the leaves of various trees and shrubs, so be cautious when walking in forested areas. If you accidentally brush one, you can quickly expect an itchy and nasty rash. Make sure to remove any spines from the skin with adhesive tape. Wash the area with soap and water, then seek medical attention immediately. Oh, and did I mention they turn into this weird giant gypsy moth? Where's Godzilla when you need him most? Finally, at the top of our list is the Asian needle ant. It's an invasive species that has spread from Asia to parts of North America, bringing its dangerous sting with it. They're found in forests and urban areas, nesting under rocks, logs, and in the soil. The Asian needle ant is small, about a fraction of an inch long, with a dark brown to black body and a distinctive stinger. They feed on other insects and small invertebrates, playing a significant role in controlling pest populations. Unlike other ants, they do not bite before stinging, making their attacks swift and often unexpected. In Japan, where these ants are native, their venomous stings have caused several fatalities due to anaphylactic shock. If you live in an area where they're common, consider having an epinephrine injector on hand if you're allergic to insect stings. Even though some of these insects can be, well, the stuff of nightmares, they're also integral parts of their ecosystems, playing crucial roles in pest control.
Kidnapped, shot, and burned in his car by MS-13 gang members.
The gang has committed 27 murders.
Taking advantage of illegal immigrants.
Machetes?
That's their favorite weapon of choice.
When the Aryan Brotherhood wants to kill you in prison, they don't stab you once, they don't stab you twice. They stab you 117 times. When they want you dead, you're gonna be dead.
Given the success of our first video, we had to follow up with a part 2. We saw all your comments and made sure to include some of the gangs you mentioned, but there are so many gangs in the world, we made it to do a part 3. Which prison gang is known for 25% of murders behind bars? What Brazilian prison gang managed to steal millions in a bank heist? And how did a revolution form one of the longest running gangs in the world?
If you're targeted by the Aryan Brotherhood, you know, if they can get to you, they're gonna kill you. Yeah, they're a very dangerous gang and not a gang to be taken lightly.
The Aryan Brotherhood, also known as the AB, was founded in San Quentin State Prison in 1964. The gang formed in response to the prison system moving away from segregation. By the mid-70s, the AB had spread to multiple prisons across California and then throughout the United States. While the AB's state and federal factions operated separately, they shared common goals and a similar structure. There was a clear hierarchy. The AB was led by a 12-man council, which a 3-man commission oversaw. Barry the Baron Mills and TD the Hulk Bingham were 2 of those commissioners, notoriously known as the founding members of the Aryan Brotherhood Federation.
I think TD Bingham and Barry Mills had sort of worldwide domination aspirations. They wanted to grow this gang into something the likes of which had never been seen before.
Though they make up only 1% of the country's prison population, reports suggest they're responsible for up to 25% of murders behind bars. Yikes. If recruited by the gang, initiation is no easy task. Aligning with their motto, blood in, blood out, those who join usually need to kill a rival gang member or attack a corrections officer. And once you're in, it's nearly impossible to get out.
They're very selective on who actually gets to get into the gang, which allows them to stay very, very small, very, very tight, very, very secretive.
Most members can be identified by their tattoos. They usually have a 3-leaf shamrock with the letters SS or a swastika that might have 666 written inside.
Their rivals are anybody that interferes with the rackets that they're controlling.
With members both inside and outside of prison, the gang is involved in drug trafficking, prostitution, extortion, and murder for hire. And their ways of communicating with the outside world are quite impressive.
And you would write the message and urine on a legal paper, it would dry and you couldn't see it. But when the party who received it got it, they would take an iron or just a torch and heat it, and the wording would come out.
Working alongside other gangs such as the Nazi Lowriders, the Mexican Mafia, and the Hells Angels, the Brotherhood has continued to expand its reach and influence. Notable threats to them include other prison and street gangs such as the Bloods and Crips, the DC Blacks, the Black Guerrilla Family, and of course, the government of the United States. In 2002, a grand jury in Los Angeles worked to dismantle the AB entirely. indicting them on racketeering charges centered around 16 murders and 16 attempted homicides ordered by the gang's leaders.
The federal government indicted about 40 AB members.
They were seeking the death penalty against 40 individuals. That's pretty damn significant.
Ultimately, the prosecution removed the death penalty as an option and instead gave the AB leaders life in prison, which didn't really matter because they're already serving life. In 2018, Barry Mills died at the age of 70 due to natural causes. An autopsy followed, but the results were not made public. T.D. Bingham is still locked up at ADX Florence, a supermax prison in Colorado.
For right now, I think the feds are pretty confident they've got him locked down to the point where he can't interact with people. And if that's not true, they probably won't realize it until it's too late.
With a stronghold on prisons across the country and members working the streets, the FBI is continuing to do its best to crack down on the Aryan Brotherhood. But for the feds, there's a much bigger and more dangerous gang on their radar.
MS-13 is a gang that was born in Los Angeles, mostly of immigrant families that came up from El Salvador during a terrible civil war that was happening in that country.
What started as a street gang in the 80s quickly turned into one of the most violent and feared gangs in the United States. Mara Salvatrucha, better known as MS-13, may have started in the streets of LA, but as of 2025 is believed to have expanded to almost every state. They're also international, with activity in Canada, El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala, as well as Spain and Italy. But what does Mara Salvatrucha 13 even mean? Well, Mara means gang, Salva represents Salvador, and Trucha means street smarts. The 13 is for the M, which is the 13th letter in the alphabet. With no official big boss, the gang consists of groups of members who run independently of each other. The one thing they all share are their infamous tattoos, which are often located on their chest or their face. Those interested in joining go through an initiation that involves being jumped in or viciously beaten for 13 seconds. Sometimes they also need to get wet, which involves committing a crime on behalf of the gang, often murder. Using the US government's immigration and deportation policies to their advantage, MS-13 targets new immigrants who don't know many people in the community. Some join by choice, others out of fear for their lives. And if you refuse to join, you could face severe consequences. A woman from El Salvador, referred to here as Margarita, had to move her son into a safe house after the MS-13 attacked him for refusing to join. Sadly, she's afraid to go to the police out of fear that her family will get deported.
La Mara como que siente que nosotros no tenemos el apoyo de la policía, sentimos miedo para llamarlos a ellos. Entonces ellos se sienten como más libres de andar molestando.
And if you're thinking of leaving, that's not an option either. Surviving in a gang like this, like most gangs, requires loyalty to a fault.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere. You go to move anywhere you want. They'll find out where you are.
There's nowhere you're safe.
You wanna try to leave at one point, you're not gonna be able to.
The gang is known primarily for extortion, forcing people working both legally and illegally in gang territory to pay them. Those who refuse are often subjected to violent retaliation. MS-13 is also involved in human trafficking, weapons, and drugs, but mostly as a result of working alongside other gangs, including those linked to Mexican cartels. The gang's biggest rival would be the government, both in the US and El Salvador. In the US, those affiliated with MS-13 risk being deported back to El Salvador. In El Salvador, they can be killed or sent to the hellish mega prison, CCOT. In fact, the vast majority of El Salvador's gangs have ended up there. We did a whole episode about it, and let's just say the living conditions there are pretty brutal.
Once the police find out where I live at, they're gonna come and snatch me, and they're gonna kill me. My friend got sent back 6 months ago, they killed him already.
Barrio 18 is another rival gang of MS-13, and maybe we'll touch on them if we do a part 3. As of 2025, it's believed there are over 70,000 members in the Northern Triangle, referring to Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. The US-based statistic varies, but it's been around 10,000 members for years. With the current administration heavily cracking down on alleged affiliates, the number may drop significantly. In March of 2025, ICE, working alongside the FBI, arrested 27-year-old David Alejandro Oriana Eliman, who is a prominent leader within MS-13. But it seems the gang is too big to dismantle completely. Our next gang started as a revolution, but has since evolved into an international threat.
How does the triads work? I mean, we hear that term all the time, but like...
Triads are a different breed.
How so?
Very organized.
Known for money laundering, drug trafficking, and gambling, the Triads are arguably some of the oldest gangs on our list. They started as a single secret Chinese society called Triad, dating back to the 1800s, possibly even earlier, formed to overthrow the leaders within the Qing dynasty, which ruled China from 1644 to 1912. Operating out of Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, and various Chinatowns internationally from Canada to Italy, the Triads are very sophisticated organized crime groups. The two most notorious syndicates are the 14K and the Sun Yuan. Without one true leader, the Triads have different groups and leadership structures. Often, each group has one boss.
You obey your main boss. There's only one main boss for the whole group, so you must obey him. And never against each other. And never steal money from each other. And never lie to each other. And never take girl each other.
Respect and honor are pillars of being a part of the Triads, and those who disobey the rules can face severe consequences like being crippled or even killed. Since their inception, Triad gangs have maintained a mentality that no one should be trusted, including other Triad syndicates and government figures. And if a deal goes south, you can expect some serious heat. With a focus on nationalism, the Triads and the Chinese Communist Party appeared to have common interests. This led to the two working together to help the transition of power from the British to the Chinese in Hong Kong in the 90s. Similar to Japan's Yakuza, the Triads have an initiation ceremony. It involves sacrificing a chicken or a pig at an altar dedicated to Quan Yu, a revered Chinese general from the Eastern Han Dynasty. The inductee then drinks the blood of the animal mixed with wine, passes under an archway of swords, and recites the Triads' 36 oaths. Before we move on to one of the most infamous gangs of all time, let me give you an offer you can't refuse. Like and subscribe for more incredible survival stories.
The main group, Cosa Nostra, which means our thing, slowly, bit by bit, infiltrating society with extortion, drug and arms trafficking, contract killings, and political bribery.
The Sicilian Mafia, also known as Cosa Nostra, may be the most recognizable gang in the world thanks to popular films and TV shows.
They never cared about killing innocents, of course. They have massacred children and women and elder people without thinking twice.
Dating back to the 1800s, the Mafia was initially created as a form of protection from foreign invaders who would occupy the island of Sicily. Eventually, individual clans would consider themselves small armies, creating a system of justice and retribution. As Italy tried to establish its government in Sicily, it relied upon the Mafia to keep things in check. They didn't expect the Mafia to become the powerhouse it has become today, with divisions, or families, as they're often called, expanding worldwide. From government corruption to extortion and even being mediators between other criminals, the Mafia's history is intertwined with organized crime and violence.
First, the bombing of anti-mafia judge Giovanni Falcone, his wife and 3 bodyguards. The crater left by the bomb on the Palermo Airport Road was 100 meters in diameter.
When Benito Mussolini came into power, he cracked down on the Sicilian Mafia, fearing they would threaten his vision. But the Sicilian Mafia was just getting started. Post-World War II was when it started to flourish, controlling the majority of construction in Sicily and, eventually, getting into the international drug trafficking world. Although many people assume the Sicilian and American mafias are the same, they're very different.
Do the American mob guys have to kick up to the Italians or no?
Absolutely not.
No.
Hell no.
Is it the same families or?
I mean, you could have them out there, but no, they have nothing to do with that. That's totally different. We don't give them no money.
So as popular as The Godfather, Casino, Goodfellas, and The Sopranos are, they depict the life of the American mob, not to be confused with the Sicilian Mafia. For the Sicilian Mafia, loyalty to the family, in this case the Mafia, is how to survive. Those within it live by the code of silence that is omerta. Never go to law enforcement for any disputes and never assist in investigations involving yourself or others. Going against this code is a death sentence. The The Sicilian Mafia is still active, and although there have been crackdowns over the years, it is still a powerful force involved in organized crime with a focus on the white-collar varieties. Tax scams and financial fraud have taken precedence over the old business methods. With less severe punishment, it's low risk, high reward. Do they still kill? I have no doubt about it, just not nearly as often as before. Their biggest rivals are the government officials trying to crack down on them, as well as other Italian organized crime groups. Although bloodshed doesn't occur nearly as often as it did back in the 80s. Between 1981 and 1983, over 1,000 people were killed when the Corleonesi clan tried to take over all of Sicily. Other clan leaders, their families, government officials, and innocent civilians were caught up in the crossfire. Moving on, we have a gang that started because of horrible prison conditions.
They saw it almost as if they were soldiers. If the police come in and try and affect their business or try and disrupt their way of life within the favela, they believe they have every right to defend themselves.
The 1st Capital Command, also known as the Primero Comando de Capital, or PCC, is Latin America's biggest gang. Following the Carandiru jail massacre in October 1992, where over 100 prisoners lost their lives at the hands of officers, the idea of the PCC was formed. Sadly, the massacre started because 2 groups of inmates got into a fight over a soccer match they had played earlier, which quickly escalated into a riot. The gang began forming in August 1993, after 8 prisoners came together and allied with another prison gang, the Red Command. Together, the newly formed PCC wanted justice for the atrocity and overall better prison conditions. Since then, they've expanded beyond the prison system. In 1999, the PCC carried out the biggest bank heist in Sao Paulo's history, stealing $32 million. But that's nothing compared to a 2005 heist where $65 million was stolen from a bank in the state of Ceará. At this point, it was clear the gang was a threat to national security and anyone who got in their way.
They broke into the vault and stole millions from inside.
Theft, vault, hole, tunnel. It's obvious this is not a simple crime.
In an attempt to destroy the gang, PCC leaders were split up into different prisons. Unfortunately, this only increased their influence and helped the gang grow in numbers. It also led to a series of violent events in 2006, where during a single weekend in May, over 100 attacks were carried out by the gang targeting police, from shooting officers to blowing them up with hand grenades. This was a clear message being sent in response to 8 PCC members being moved to a maximum security prison. Across 51 prisons in Brazil, the gang rioted and held over 240 prison guards hostage. Attacks were also coordinated with gang members on the outside. When all was said and done, 43 officers and hundreds of civilians were killed, many caught up in the crossfire. With upwards of 100,000 members across Brazil, Bolivia, Paraguay, and Colombia, the gang went from asking for better prison conditions to getting involved with drugs, weapons, and extortion.
It is a battle between the government and the gangs, with the police as a sort of proxy in the middle to carry out the government's demand.
With operations both in and outside of prisons, the PCC continues to run favelas, or large slum communities, of Brazil. Under the watchful eyes of 8 leaders known as Sintonia Geral Final, the gang acts as a sort of deadly regulatory agency for criminal activity in Brazil. It's safe to say that surviving the PCC is simple. Play by the rules and you'll do just fine. Members need to pay the gang monthly fees, but can earn their own money however they want, as long as it doesn't interfere with the gang's business. Well, if this video doesn't make you fearful of criminal gangs all over the world, maybe you should watch part 1. One thing is for sure, I'm happy just living below in my bunker. Whether you're in the slammer, on the streets, or even on vacation, it's always good to be cautious about crime, especially if you're in gang territory. This is my gang sign. Today we'll discuss the world's deadliest gangs and what it takes to survive them, or hopefully avoid them altogether. This one isn't for the faint of heart, so if violence isn't your thing, don't say I didn't warn you. From initiations that could leave you with life-altering injuries, to questionable rules that must be obeyed, gang life certainly isn't for everyone. Some are focused on moving products, if you get what I mean, while others are known for extortion and extreme violence. Although most gangs tend to have a leader or boss, some have multiple head honchos, and many of them are very secretive.
I mean, who knows? They could be running your local fast food joint.
Come in and try our new curly fries. We are so sure you'll like them. And if you don't, they're on me.
Which group has the highest kill count? Which gang sued Disney and won? And what's the oldest gang that's still running? Be sure to stick around for all the answers. But first, let's take a trip down to Colombia.
Señores, yo soy Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria, haciendo negocios, así que pues fresco. Ustedes eligen plata o plomo.
The Medellin cartel was established in the mid-1970s in Colombia, led by one of the world's most infamous gang leaders, Pablo Escobar. By the 1980s, the cartel ran the world's largest cocaine trade. Back then, they were responsible for over 80% of the country's cocaine supply. And at one point, they were moving 15 tons per day. But it wasn't just drug trafficking that made them one of the most powerful gangs in the world. It was their ruthless and unforgiving leader who, at their peak, helped them rule the entire country.
Very famous word established by Pablo Escobar, plata or plomo, bullet or money.
You either accept the bribe or you get killed. Anybody who went against Escobar would die.
Surviving the Medellin cartel was quite simple. You either did what they asked or you were killed. If you weren't with them, you were against them. Escobar was known for bribing everyone from local criminals to government officials. He was also seen as a man of the people, at one point winning a seat in Colombia's Congress in 1982. As a smart businessman, he also offered to pay off the country's national debt, approximately $10 billion, if they stopped pursuing him. Unfortunately, the government and DEA had other plans. They eventually teamed up with the Cali cartel, Escobar's biggest rival, to take down the drug lord. At one point, Escobar did turn himself in, agreeing to surrender under two conditions. One, he would not be extradited to the United States. And two, he would be allowed to build his own prison. To no one's surprise, his prison, if you'd even call it that, included a nightclub, sauna, soccer field, telephones, computers, and even a waterfall. It was called La Catedral, or the Cathedral. After it was discovered Escobar had killed 2 cartel members while there, authorities decided to move him to a less luxurious prison, but he escaped custody before the transfer. This led to a manhunt, which ended with Escobar being gunned down on his rooftop. Shortly after, the Medellin cartel would collapse, paving the way for numerous other organizations currently running the cocaine trade in Colombia. But when the Escobar-led cartel saw its demise, an opportunity also arose for the Mexican cartels to gain control over the international drug trade.
Townspeople in Culiacan are having to adjust to a new reality, one where bodies turn up on the street daily.
Here at How to Survive, we're all about survival, even when it comes to surviving the tough demands of being a video creator. Thankfully, you have InVideo AI as your perfect co-pilot and personal sidekick. And now with InVideo AI's version 3, they've introduced the ability to create stunning videos, putting you in the director's seat in the most seamless, intuitive way possible, no matter what skill level you are at. And I'm not just talking about short clips like what Sora, Pika, and Runway do. With just a simple text prompt, you could generate entire videos with scripts and voiceovers. It removes all friction and makes the process so intuitive and fluid that it disappears, letting users focus entirely on their vision and their idea. So I nerded out and asked it to make a Lego mashup of Breaking Bad, and the results blew me away.
Today, class, we're going to learn about chemistry. Yo, Mr. White.
This is amazing. You can also edit anything you like adding your own voice. From short films and product videos to educational content, the possibilities with InVideo AI are truly endless. You can try InVideo AI for free, but if you want to use its generative capabilities, I highly recommend that you go for the generative plan, which starts at $96 a month and gives you 15 generative minutes. If you're already an InVideo user, you can simply go to the add-on section and buy generative seconds. Now back to the show. The Sinaloa cartel is headquartered in Culiacan, Mexico, but has a presence throughout the country and internationally. From Latin America to the Caribbean and North America, it's known for drug trafficking, money laundering, and violence. And joining is no easy task either. You need to be loyal and willing to do what's asked of you without hesitation.
If you are asked to kill someone, you must do it without thinking. If you don't do it, they beat you up and you're out. It's a test. If you can't do it, you don't join us.
Founded in the late 60s, the cartel started small, with a focus on smuggling marijuana into the US. They also pioneered the use of planes for large-scale trafficking operations. But it was in the 1990s when the Sinaloa cartel truly rose to power. That's when things took a turn for the worse.
Violence paralyzed the streets of a Mexican city yesterday as security forces traded gunfire with heavily armed members of a drug cartel. The son of the notorious drug kingpin El Chapo was taken into custody, then let go.
Before his arrest, the cartel was led by Joaquin Guzman, better known as El Chapo. It wouldn't be long before he became one of the US's most wanted criminals. Following an arrest in Mexico back in 2001, El Chapo managed an escape, fearing he would be extradited to the US. In 2014, El Chapo was arrested a second time and put in a maximum security prison. But incredibly, in 2015, he managed to escape again through a well-lit, mile-long tunnel built below his cell's shower area. It even had a motorcycle on rails. Gotta hand it to him. This guy is as slippery as an otter.
The dramatic moments just before or just when El Chapo disappears into a tunnel. There it is, right there on your screen for the first time.
With the help of local law enforcement, the Army, and even the Mexican Navy's Special Forces, El Chapo was again arrested in 2016 and extradited to the United States the following year. And his new prison cell is ultra secure. We did a whole episode about it, so be sure to check that out after this. The leadership of the Sinaloa cartel was then transferred to El Chapo's 4 sons, known as El Chapitos. 2 of them were arrested in 2024 alongside El Mayo, another co-founder of the Sinaloa cartel, leaving the other 2 in control. Even with leadership being captured and rival cartels such as the CJNG engaging in turf wars to grow their network, the Sinaloa cartel remains one of the most powerful and deadly. Between shootouts, ruthless aggression, and the worldwide drug distribution, it's likely the Sinaloa cartel is the deadliest on our list today.
Drug trafficking will never end. They caught El Chapo, but there's already someone else. If they catch him, someone else will take his place. This doesn't have an end.
Before we take you to the other side of the world to look at our only semi-legal gang collective on the list, make sure to like and subscribe for more unbelievable survival stories.
Who are the Yakuza? The Yakuza are 22 different designated organized crime groups that make their money in Japan from gambling, extortion, drug dealing, prostitution, child pornography, blackmail, fraud increasingly, and any other crime that you can think of.
And they've been doing all of this since 1612, making them the oldest crime syndicate on our list. From gambling to construction and even politics, the gangs that make up the Yakuza have found ways to make money while operating somewhat legally. It's not illegal to join the Yakuza, and many of the gangs invest in legal businesses and donate to charities. There are some registered offices, but recent laws have led to many closing down and declining Yakuza activities, as well as a decrease in their memberships. And known for strict codes of honor, there is often one boss in a gang and those who work under him. A blood oath is usually taken to show allegiance to the family. Those who break the rules often show regret or atonement by cutting off their left pinky finger, a ritual called yubitsume. Rooted in Japanese history, those who carried swords drew them with their left hands.
Since the pinky finger was very important in such situations, cutting the pinky finger represents a loss of control when drawing the sword. I also did yubitsu. You can see how my pinky finger is missing here.
One of the more notable Yakuza groups was Yamaguchi Gumi, led by Kazuo Taoka until his passing in 1981. Given their long-lasting history in the country, some respect the Yakuza despite their links to crime. Following the Great Hanshin earthquake in 1995 and the Tohoku earthquake and tsunami of 2011, the Yakuza were some of the first to donate and deliver supplies to those in need. Some have also opted to focus more on bribery than violence, giving them the title of one of the least murderous criminal groups in the world. Other Yakuza, as well as the government and even Chinese groups like the Triads, can be seen as threats. And they're not the only gang that loves tattoos.
Police in Russia say one of the main figures in the country's organized crime community has been gunned down in Moscow. Aslan Usoyan controlled a criminal group which trafficked drugs and weapons and ran clandestine businesses.
The Russian mafia, aka the Bratva, is known for its influence, power, wealth, and illegal business dealings. Although they are primarily based in their home country, they have divisions internationally across Europe and North America. Organized crime and political influence are the mainstays of the Russian mafia, with their main rivals being law enforcement and other crime syndicates. With many different groups across various regions, there isn't necessarily one leader, but influential figures and bosses who often coexist and do business together. Like the Yakuza, one way to identify members and their rankings is by their distinctive tattoos, which became common among Russian prisoners during the Soviet Union days. If you're looking to survive as a member, you'll need unwavering loyalty. This includes not ratting each other out and possibly even taking the blame for someone else's crime. Breaking the Thieves' Code, as it's called, is punishable by death. Following the collapse of the Soviet Union in the 1990s, the Russian mafia became incredibly powerful, as the country itself had lost its structure and identity. Businesses started to pay for protection, state assets became privatized, and crime ran rampant. Often referred to as the Wild 90s, this is when the Russian mafia was at its peak. Today the Russian mafia is still active, but isn't as brazen with Vladimir Putin at the helm. Instead, it works alongside him to ensure he looks the other way when they do business how they please. Next up are a couple of gangs known for their distinctive dress codes and drive-by shootings. Considered two of the most notorious street gangs in the United States, the Bloods and Crips started out in Los Angeles, but have since gone international. The Crips were founded by Raymond Washington and Stanley Tookie Williams in 1971, when both were in high school. However, it wouldn't be long before the Crips would grow beyond their control. Nearby neighborhoods would start forming their own Crip gangs, with different leaders for each section, and they quickly began causing problems.
And that's how I became a Blood gang member, willing to fight back. And that was in 1977. I joined a movement. And the movement was to not be a victim of the Crips.
In response to the growing power of the Crips, the Bloods were formed, and throughout the 70s and 80s, they would often engage in violent street wars. Aside from being each other's biggest rivals, law enforcement and neighboring gangs are also considered threats. Some Crips even fight each other.
Bloods used to be the main rivals of the Crips, but now there are just as many Crips are against one another than there are Bloods. A lot of Crips and Bloods have become allies because they share the same common Crip enemy.
These two teaming up over a common enemy isn't unheard of either. Following the acquittal of the police officers involved in the Rodney King attack in 1991, numerous gangs discussed a peace treaty to combat police brutality.
A couple of popular gang leaders from different gangs, from different areas, different sets, had a meeting and decided that this was the perfect opportunity to try to bring a peace treaty, a truce between the gangs.
To survive, you need to be street smart, knowing who's your ally and who's not. It's kill or be killed. Joining either one isn't as simple as wearing red as a Blood or blue as a Crip. It can involve a sketchy initiation like jumping in, where a group of members brutally assault a recruit for a set period of time to test their toughness and commitment. Yeah, I think I'll pass on this one. Today the gangs aren't as prominent as they were in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but they're still active with a primary focus on drug trafficking and extortion. Next up is a gang known for their love of the open road and rock and roll.
I was told when you meet a Hell's Angel and you got your sunglasses on, you better lift your sunglasses up and look that person in the eye. That member wants to see your eyes.
Formed in California way back in 1948, the Hells Angels have become an international gang, with chapters in Canada, Europe, and even New Zealand. The most notorious motorcycle gang in the world, the Hells Angels are known for their loyalty to each other, patches, and love for Harleys. There is no single leader, as each chapter has its members and hierarchy. But Ralph Sonny Barger, who was a founder of the Oakland chapter and later the club's leader, is one of the most well-known figures.
Sonny Barger had genuine leadership capabilities. He was also probably the toughest son of in the bunch, too.
Before his passing at the age of 83 in 2022, Barger claimed the Hells Angels were a bunch of fun-loving guys who just ride motorcycles. The US Department of Justice strongly refutes that. According to their research data, the Hells Angels are involved in murder, trafficking drugs, including meth, cocaine, heroin, and anything else you'd be interested in. They also buy and sell firearms. And it takes more than just being tough as nails to ride with these guys. Becoming an official member of the Hells Angels can take years. To start, you need to know a member and, of course, own an American-made bike. At first, you become a hang-around, which allows the other members to get to know you. You may be given small tasks to complete, and after a year or so, you could become a prospect.
To get full membership, you have to be voted on by the members of your charter, and you have to receive a 100% vote. If one member of that charter votes against you, your prospecting phase continues.
And once you become a full member, that title lasts for life. Surviving requires an unwavering loyalty to the club and the Brotherhood. To no surprise, other US-based motorcycle gangs, such as the Outlaws, and of course law enforcement, are the Hells Angels' biggest rivals. The media is also a threat to their image, something very sacred to the club. So when Disney mentioned the Hells Angels and featured their logo in the 2007 buddy comedy movie Wild Hogs, they slapped them with a lawsuit.
You got a deal.
Prior to the film's release, the lawsuit was voluntarily withdrawn after Disney agreed to remove all references to the biker gang. Aside from burning rubber, they also love rock and roll. But when they were hired as security for the Altamont Speedway Free Festival in 1969, a Woodstock-like concert, things took an ugly turn. Sonny Barger blamed headlining act The Rolling Stones for the violence that killed 4 people, injured several more, and caused major property damage. One of the Hells Angels, Alan Pissarro, stabbed and killed concertgoer Meredith Hunter, an 18-year-old who drew a revolver. After that, all hell broke loose. Let's just say, unlike their song, the Rolling Stones didn't have much sympathy for the devil.
I'll send a big guy in to tackle you, wrap your legs up, and hold you down on the ground while the other 3 stab you. You can't win. You don't have to like it. I may not like it, but whatever it is, you're going to do it.
On several occasions, I got jumped. On others, I had just fought one-on-one. They wouldn't leave me alone because I was an ex-member.
Yeah, I was trying to pass him on the road, and they just blocked us in playing games.
An NLR gunman climbed out the window and pumped 7 slugs into the James car, killing their baby son in his car seat.
I'm your host, Jared, and today we'll look at some of the deadliest prison gangs in the world, both past and present, in no particular order. Trust me, they're all deadly and terrifying. Now, keep in mind, some of the sources we found about these gangs are more than 20 years old. But we did our best to paint you a picture of what they were like during their most active years. And, well, it's not pretty. What gang murdered a rival gang leader and sent pieces of him to his family? What led to the longest-running gang war in California's history? And which gang wanted to overthrow the US government?
We're in prison. Oh, God damn, man, welcome to the real world.
Brodroskapet, also known as BSK or the Wolfpack, was founded on May 27, 1995, inside Sweden's maximum security Kumla prison. Some call it a prison gang, but as the name translates in English, to its members, it's a brotherhood. Comprised of Sweden's worst inmates, most of its recruits were serving sentences for crimes ranging from drug charges to armed robberies and murder. To be clear, you had to serve time in a high-security prison to join, meaning these guys weren't just your average petty criminals. On top of that, you couldn't participate in any rehab programs. You had to refuse to give authorities samples of your urine for drug testing purposes and provide court documents to prove to members you weren't an informant. Yeah, the BSK weren't taking any chances. In 1998, Danny Fitzpatrick, a founding member, was released from prison and assassinated by 3 members of a gang affiliated with the Hells Angels only months later. Stemming from a turf war and seen as a strategic move to weaken or dismantle the BSK, Fitzpatrick was ambushed in his car. To no surprise, this led to a long and bloody rivalry with the Angels, which still has several chapters located in Sweden. Leadership changed a few times over the years, but different chapters of the BSK started to pop up across the country. Involved with drug and arms trafficking, robbery, and theft, the gang continued to operate despite crackdowns from authorities. Since September 2006, your status in the Brotherhood hasn't necessarily been determined by seniority, but rather by what you can offer the gang.
You can clean the clubhouse, stand guard at parties, drive around members, transport weapons, transport drugs, carry out acts of violence for the gang, so everything possible just to prove that you are worthy and advanced to the next step.
Exact numbers for gang enrollment as of 2025 are hard to come by. Sadly, it often recruits kids in their early to mid-teens because charges against the youth are significantly less severe in Sweden. Let's just hope they're not lurking at my local IKEA. I need my meatballs. Okay, not a joke. Moving on, a gang that is known to kill their members just to protect themselves.
They'll eliminate you. If you go back into history, 99% of the victims of the Mexican Mafia have been their own members.
The Mexican Mafia, also known as La M, was founded in 1957 by 13 inmates, including Luis Flores, at California's dual vocational institution. His goal was to protect Mexican and Hispanic inmates being targeted by other gangs within the American prison system. But united behind bars led to the realization that they could also combine local street gangs and turn into an organized criminal empire. Today, members pay tax both inside and outside of prison, with numerous leaders across different states. Joining the Mexican Mafia isn't so simple either. You need to have served time in prison, follow their rules for a minimum of 2 years to prove loyalty, and get unanimous approval from local leaders. Oh, and you also need to injure or kill someone severely. That's important to mention. The gang's main rivals include the Black Guerrilla family and Black Street gangs. Given that the Mexican Mafia is known for historically being anti-black, it shouldn't come as much of a surprise that they have allied with the Aryan Brotherhood. Although most gangs have found clever ways of communicating while locked up, the Mexican Mafia has become notorious for using cell phones, allowing them to do business in and outside of prisons. From coordinating assassinations to moving weapons and drugs, this gang has cracked the code on operating within prison. In 2022, California prisons seized over 6,700 cell phones from inmates. As of 2025, it's believed the Mexican Mafia has between 350 and 400 members currently in prisons, and tens of thousands more affiliated with the gang around California. Safe to say they're going strong despite recent crackdowns by local authorities. Now, our next gang is a known ally of the Mexican Mafia, and it's just as deadly.
When the Aryan Brotherhood wants to kill you in prison, they don't stab you once, they don't stab you twice. They stab you 117 times. When they want you dead, you're gonna be dead.
The Aryan Brotherhood, commonly known as the AB, was formed in 1964 in California's San Quentin prison. Notable members and leaders include Clayton Fountain, Barry Mills, and Thomas Silverstein. By the mid-70s, the gang had expanded with factions in prisons across the entire country. And the one thing they've become notorious for is their violent ways. At one point, the gang's members made up 1% of inmates across the country, but were responsible for 25% of murders behind bars. As the gang continued to grow, a 3-man commission was created to oversee operations on a federal level. In 1980, Barry the Baron Mills, Tyler the Hulk Bingham, and John Greshner were given the honors. And although they called the shots, they weren't the ones responsible for the creation of ADX Supermax Prison. That honor goes to Clayton Fountain and Thomas Silverstein, the AB leaders who, in 1983, while locked up at Marion Prison, got out of their cuffs and killed 2 correctional officers, stabbing one of them 40 times.
The ideal candidate for membership in the Aryan Brotherhood would be somebody that has demonstrated violence in the past. They are willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish their mission.
Joining the Aryan Brotherhood often requires an initiation of killing a rival gang member or attacking a corrections officer. Notable rivals of the AB include the Black Guerrilla family, the DC Blacks, and the Bloods and Crips. Inside a prison, there is a hierarchy with leadership at both the state and federal levels. On the streets, there are usually leaders in charge of cities or regions, and like most gangs on our list, they're involved in weapons, drugs, and murder.
All right, fun stuff.
In the 90s, the gang was hired by famous mob boss John Gotti for protection, and at one point, to kill an inmate who attacked him. Although they worked together briefly, Gotti died in prison in 2002 and the hit was never made. Sources claim there are up to 20,000 members of the Aryan Brotherhood on the streets and in prison. With the US government constantly trying to crack down on leadership, it's tough to know for sure who the shot callers are. One thing is for sure, the gang isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Our next gang was actually created by the AB, serving as middlemen for their operations. And they love motorcycles and mayhem. The Nazi lowriders, aka the NLR, were established in the 70s at Preston Youth Correctional Facility in California. It started when another Aryan Brotherhood leader, John Stinson, began to recruit younger inmates with similar ideologies to the AB to help the gang with their illegal operations. Although it started in California, the gang has since grown significantly, with members both inside prisons and on the streets across the United States. Similar to the Aryan Brotherhood, the NLR's ideology is white supremacy. To no one's surprise, their rivals are predominantly black gangs, including the Bloods Crips and the Black Guerrilla family. But according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, in the 1970s, they allowed a small group of Hispanic members to join, mostly to do their dirty work like trafficking drugs into prisons. The gang follows a 3-tier system, with seniors at the top running the show, followed by juniors, and what they call kids. The NLR elect seniors after being members for at least 5 years. Juniors are less seasoned but help find new recruits. And the kids usually come from gangs like Public Enemy No. 1 and are mentored by the seniors. They can be anywhere in their teens to early 20s. Inmates who don't follow the gang's rules are often met with a grim fate.
You can think all of this. You can be as big as you want. If I send one guy and he can't do it, I'll send 3. If I send 3 and they can't do it, I'll send 5.
Your safest bet to avoid having a similar fate is just not going to prison in the first place. I'm just saying. The NLR is, of course, allied with the AB and Public Enemy No. 1, but has also been known to work alongside the Hells Angels and the Mexican Mafia. Unlike other gangs on our list, the NLR managed to keep a low profile for nearly 20 years before being detected by authorities. Their criminal activities included assaults, murders, weapons trafficking, and anything to do with drugs. Some members were known to use the drugs as well.
Lowell, who was convicted and sentenced to life in prison, testified at trial that he'd been in a drug-induced haze on a 3-day methamphetamine binge.
Cops asked him to drop it, and he wouldn't, and he turned towards the cops, and that's when the cops shot him.
Richard Thorpe, an NLR parolee wanted on a weapons charge, was dead on the spot. Traces of methamphetamine and alcohol later found in his system.
Aside from the killing of a baby in what appeared to be a road rage incident, other notable crimes include the beating of Eric Miller, a black man, with a baseball bat outside of a video rental store, and the assault with a hammer on another black man, Nathaniel Harris. Just when I thought they couldn't get any worse. As of 2015, the NLR's membership was believed to be around the 5,000 member mark, but accurate numbers these days are hard to come by. Our next gang takes revenge to another level, but before we explain why, make sure to like and subscribe to learn how to survive the wild life of prison gangs. You know, if you ever end up in the clink. The Netas Association was founded in the late 70s by Carlos Torres Iriarte inside Oso Blanco Max Security Prison in Puerto Rico. Mainly comprised of political prisoners, the gang was initially created to protect inmates from other gangs and abusive guards within the prison. Although many inmates respected Iriarte's motivation, rival gangs, specifically the G27, wanted him dead. In 1981, with the help of crooked officers, Iriarte was stabbed and shot to death while returning to his cell. Officials later concluded some of his lieutenants had turned on him after he refused to allow the gang to become involved in drug trafficking.
They thought you knocked the head, body falls, right? Nah. Chop the head off and we cool.
This sparked a deadly riot. The Netas wanted revenge.
They tripped away through walls, cell through cell, and got 2.
They allegedly broke into the cell of the G27's leader, Minota, stabbed him over 150 times, and then cut him into approximately 84 pieces. There have been claims that the gang sent some pieces to his mother.
The administration of the facilities received certain parts. The second in charge of the G27s received the eyes of the leader.
It's one thing to kill someone. It's another to chop them up into pieces and mail them out. By the 90s, the gang had gone international, with members in New York and Florida. As it continued to expand, members were recruited in Canadian prisons, as well as parts of Spain, Italy, and the Dominican Republic.
We ran 7 prisons at the time.
Still, it seemed it was larger than authorities initially realized, with members also in Argentina, Chile, Portugal, and Mexico. Each chapter of the Netas had a president, vice president, treasurer, disciplinarian, and coordinator, to add some civility to the organization. Each position was voted in by majority rule. A 2005 report by the National Drug Intelligence Center now known as the DEA, stated the gang's main source of income was the distribution of drugs, most notably crack, heroin, and marijuana. Naturally, this led to tension among other gangs involved in the drug trade, specifically across the US. Their main rivals were street gangs, notably the Latin Kings, as well as MS-13 and the Bloods and Crips. I say were because in 2019, 40 of the NETA's top members and leaders were convicted of various charges that pretty much gutted its ability to compete in the brutal world of organized crime. Up next, a gang that is a part of the longest running gang war in the state of California. And they're all about family.
When you see us out there on the yards and we're doing burpees and we're doing exercises out there, we're not out there doing that because we're just trying to get karate bodies and just trying to look nice, right? We're training for a war. That's what it is.
La Nuestra Familia, or NF, was founded in the mid-60s at Soledad State Prison in California. Inmates initially created the gang as a form of protection against the Mexican Mafia, but have since grown into a deadly gang both behind bars and on the streets. Back then, NF was comprised of Mexican Americans from Northern California, while the Mexican Mafia was predominantly Mexican Americans from the southern parts of California. In 1965, a Mexican Mafia member allegedly stole a pair of shoes from an NF member, which led to the longest running gang war in California. These guys clearly take their kicks very seriously. Without one true leader, the gang instead relies on a council of senior members, the majority of whom are incarcerated, to make big decisions. Joining the gang requires members to put the gang above everything else.
When you make a commitment to the NF, it's a lifetime commitment. I was asked things like, are you willing to kill your own flesh and blood? You know, are you willing to put the organization first before everything else in your life?
Murder, robbery, drug trafficking, and money laundering are all a part of the gang's ways of making money. And given that they sell meth, naturally, they're rivals with the Aryan Brotherhood and, of course, the Mexican Mafia. Since the 90s, authorities have increased attempts to take down the NF, and although they've been able to arrest many of the highest-ranking members over the years, the gang is still going strong. Up next, a gang that is considered one of the most politically motivated prison gangs of all time. The Black Guerrilla Family, or BGF, was founded in 1966 by George Jackson, George Lewis, and W.L. Nolan, while all three were locked up in San Quentin State Prison, California. Initially inspired by the Black Power movement, the gang refers to itself as an ideological African-American Marxist-Leninist revolutionary organization composed of prisoners. Their goals were to promote Black Power ideologies, ensure Black inmates were treated with respect and dignity, and to overthrow the US government. To no surprise, in the 60s and 70s, Black inmates were constantly dealing with racial injustice at the hands of other inmates and correctional officers. What initially started as a political movement behind bars quickly turned into a violent gang after Nolan and Jackson were killed by correctional officers in 1970 and 71. Nolan was actually killed along with two other inmates by a racist guard during a riot when he was trying to defend himself from a coordinated attack by the Aryan Brotherhood. It's no surprise that the two gangs are still rivals. And the guard? His murder of Nolan was ruled a justifiable homicide. Although the majority of BGF members are located in California prisons, the gang has since expanded beyond bars and state lines, with affiliates in Maryland, specifically Baltimore. The gang is involved in trafficking drugs and weapons and is known for being violent. But they're also still fighting for equal rights for Black inmates, staying true to their political roots. It's believed that as of 2025, the gang has hundreds of members in prisons across California and Maryland, and thousands of associates. Believe it or not, some of those associates work in prisons with BGF members. In 2013, 25 members were indicted on racketeering charges, 13 of them being correctional officers working in Maryland. Aside from the charges brought against them, investigators revealed members of the gang had illicit affairs with female officers.
Look, I'm just saying, a pretty lady like you shouldn't be spending all her time in here.
Warning, this episode is not for the faint of heart. Viewer discretion is advised.
I was going to eat his heart. That's what I did. It was revenge, but I didn't swallow.
It's a fact that a spoon was found in the victim's brain.
He not only liked eating the flesh of these children, but drinking their blood.
And he said I did the most horrendous crime in the whole wide world.
Not true?
I guess not. All they were was shot and left.
From extreme violence to cannibalism to unspeakable acts that will make you sick to your stomach. Today we're looking at some of the world's deadliest inmates. While some have higher kill counts than others, every single one of them will make you question how a human is possibly capable of what these inmates have done. Which inmate was known for attacking prison guards naked? Why did an inmate attempt to revive people after killing them? And how did one victim survive an inmate's massacre that killed 8 others?
To be honest, I don't have any remorse about who I killed. They were people who weren't worth a damn.
Pedro Rodriguez Filho, nicknamed Pedrino Matador, was either a serial killer or a vigilante, depending on who you ask. Born on a farm in Brazil, he took his first life at just 14 years old, killing a local politician who fired his father from a security job after accusing him of stealing food from a school cafeteria. He then killed the man he believed was the real culprit. After his pregnant fiancée at the time was killed by a gang, Pedro and a few friends went on a massacre, killing 7 members and injuring another 16 at a wedding reception. He was first arrested in 1973 at 18 years old and was sentenced to 126 years in prison. Mainly targeting drug traffickers, rapists, murderers, and other criminals, Pedro did most of his killing well behind bars. Yeah, this man was on a mission. While incarcerated, Pedro murdered more than 40 inmates, but he saved the worst for his father, who was imprisoned for killing his mother. What he did to his dad was revenge on a whole other level.
I cut out a piece of his heart. I chewed because I had said I was going to eat his heart. That's what I did. It was revenge. But I didn't swallow. I chewed and threw it over the body.
Despite his heinous crimes, Pedro was released from prison in 2007 due to a loophole at the time in Brazil's laws that didn't allow inmates to be locked up for more than 30 years. In 2011, he was charged and arrested for threatening people, illegal weapons possession, and illegal rioting. In 2018, he was re-released and seemed to turn a corner. He launched a YouTube channel warning people against crime. Pedro was also the inspiration for the book-turned-TV series Dexter. But in March 2023, his dream of stardom faded when he was shot and killed by 2 unknown men. No arrests have been made. Even though he chewed his father's heart, Pedro wasn't considered a cannibal. Our next inmate, however, was nicknamed Hannibal the Cannibal.
They brought him into a cell, shut the door, and then proceeded to torture him for 9 hours.
Robert Maudsley was born in Liverpool, England, and from a very young age endured abuse from his father. While working as a sex worker in London in 1974, Maudsley strangled a client to death who showed him photos of a child he had abused. He later turned himself in. Deemed unfit for trial, Maudsley was sent to Broadmoor Hospital in 1977, where he killed again. This murder is what led to his infamous nickname, Hannibal the Cannibal.
Maudsley tore this man apart. He smashed open his head, and it's a fact that a spoon was found in the victim's brain. So Maudsley said he did not use that spoon to eat his brain, but the spoon was lodged there.
Why lodge a spoon in his brain? It doesn't matter. Maudsley was moved to Wakefield Prison in 1978, where he killed another 2 inmates. Thankfully, no spoon was found in their brains. He was then transferred to solitary confinement to endure his life sentence in complete solitude. All of his victims were sex offenders. In his last murder trial in 1979, Maudsley admitted that he believed in his mind that his victims were his parents. It was his way of dealing with the trauma from a childhood of constant abuse. A 2-cell unit was built specifically for Maudsley in 1983. It eerily resembles the unit in the 1991 film The Silence of the Lambs. To date, he spent 46 years in solitary confinement, earning him the record for longest-serving prisoner in those conditions in the history of the UK. Some sources dub him Britain's most violent prisoner, but that title may go to our next inmate. Charles Bronson, born Michael Gordon Peterson, is one of Britain's most violent and notorious inmates. Born in Bedfordshire, England, Bronson started with petty crimes at 13 years old, but didn't face any jail time until 1974, when the then 22-year-old was convicted of armed robbery and sentenced to 7 years. Throughout his first stint in prison, Bronson was transferred to numerous prisons and psychiatric hospitals, gaining a reputation for his extreme violence. From attacking inmates and guards to breaking out of his cell and rioting on prison rooftops. Bronson had his sentence extended until 1987, when he was finally released. Upon his release, Bronson, who was back using his Michael Peterson birth name at the time, started to fight in illegal bare-knuckle boxing matches. His fight promoter encouraged him to change his name, which he did. Now, before we knock out the rest of Charles Bronson's violent history, make sure to like and subscribe for more incredible survival stories. Just over a year after his release, Bronson was yet again locked up for armed robbery. In 1989, he made a makeshift spear with a broom and a broken bottle and ran around his cell naked. Okay, wow, I would not want to be this guy's cellmate. Luckily for the other inmates, the actions of the heavily armed guards led to Bronson's surrender and no one got hurt. Bronson was released again in '92 and, after a few months, was back to his old ways. He was found guilty of intent to rob, as well as possession of a shotgun, and was sentenced to 8 years. He's been in the slammer ever since. In 2014, he infamously greased himself up with butter and ran around naked after his least favorite soccer team won a championship game. When the guards tried to apprehend him, he fought back, calling it the rumble of his life. To no surprise, he lost and broke some ribs during the scuffle. While in prison, Bronson has held nearly a dozen people hostage, including inmates and visitors. This led to him receiving a life sentence. Although he's technically never killed anyone, his violent outbursts and attempts at murder make him a risk to the public. It goes without saying that you'd want to avoid anyone on this list, but our next inmate seemed to kill out of pleasure.
Panzram was arrested for a housebreaking charge, relatively minor. And when the police brought him in, he said, "This is a very small charge. I've committed numerous murders over the years. This is nothing."
Carl Panzram was born in 1891, just outside of Minnesota. Raised on a farm in an abusive household, he began with petty crimes at just 8 years old. At 11, he burned down a reform school where the staff abused him. When he was 16, Panzram decided to join the military, but was caught stealing and sentenced to 3 years in Fort Leavenworth in Kansas. After being released, he traveled across the US, parts of South America, and Europe, engaging in criminal activity including assault and robbery, while using multiple aliases. Panzram didn't start killing until 1920, after he robbed the home of William Howard Taft, a former US president. His haul included jewelry, bonds, and a pistol. With the money, Panzram bought a yacht and lured local sailors on board one at a time. He'd get them drunk, have his way with them, then kill them. Sadly, this was just the start. He continued his sadistic behavior in Africa. Panzram hired 6 men for a fake job, only to kill and feed them to crocodiles. Once he returned to the US, he continued his spree until his final arrest in 1928, when he was given life in prison. While there, he murdered a guard with an iron bar and was sentenced to death. Our next inmate will give you nightmares about going to the hospital.
Well, former nurse Niels Högel is already serving life imprisonment after being convicted of the murder and attempted murder of 6 patients who were in his care when he worked in a hospital near the city of Bremen between the years of 2000 and 2005.
Born in Germany in 1976, Niels Högel is known as the serial killer nurse and is serving life in prison for his crimes. He started in the cardiac surgery unit of a German hospital's ICU in 1999. In 2001, doctors held a meeting after there was a noticeable rise in resuscitations and deaths, with Högel on duty during more than half of the incidents. In 2002, Högel transferred to another clinic, where medical emergencies or deaths involving high blood pressure or heart failure spiked. To no surprise, Högel was again on duty when the majority of these incidents happened. On June 22, 2005, Högel was caught in the act of injecting a patient with a drug known to cause cardiac arrest. He was arrested that summer, but the gruesome details wouldn't be revealed until years later. In 2008, he was sentenced to 7 years in prison for attempted murder, but the families of other suspected victims pushed for further investigations, which exposed the sad truth. In 2015, Högel admitted to murdering at least 6 patients, and then went on to claim he killed another 30 by lethal injection. He was sentenced to life in prison. His reasoning? Boredom, and to show off his ability to resuscitate people. Yeah, this guy is sick. Just 4 years later, authorities discovered he was actually responsible for killing 85 patients. However, investigators believe that number could really be as high as 200. Taking us back to the United States, this inmate is one of America's most famous female serial killers.
You killed 7 men, 7 strangers. Does that not make you a serial killer?
So I didn't kill him every day, did I?
Eileen Wuornos was born in Michigan in 1956 and came from an abusive household. It seems to be a common theme among a lot of the inmates on our list. Working as a prostitute to support herself and her drug addiction, Wuornos was arrested a handful of times in the 70s for robbery and auto theft.
She was being arrested for driving under the influence, for assault and battery, for robbery.
However, her most significant crimes happened between 1989 and 1990. In 1 year, she was responsible for robbing and killing 7 men and dumping their bodies on the side of the road. Pretending to be a hitchhiking sex worker throughout Florida, the men would pick her up and then fall victim. Once she was arrested, Wuornos claimed she acted in self-defense, but the victims' gunshot wounds proved otherwise. Some were shot multiple times. In 1992, she was convicted of murder and sentenced to death. Shortly after, she admitted to 3 more murders and claimed she did so for profit, not in self-defense. On October 9th, 2002, Eileen Wuornos was executed by lethal injection. She was only the 2nd woman in Florida to be executed since the state restored the death penalty in 1976. Fun fact, Charlize Theron played Wuornos in her 2003 Oscar-winning performance in the film Monster. Our next inmate might encourage you to invest in better home security.
All week long, we have been showing you some disturbing images of the mass murderer. We heard Speck confess and show absolutely no remorse for his heinous crimes.
Richard Speck was born in Kirkwood, Illinois in 1941. Suffering abuse at the hands of his alcoholic stepfather, he turned to alcohol himself in his early teens. His first arrest came at just 13 years old, and over the next 8 years, he was in and out of jail for petty crimes. But the worst of his crimes occurred in 1966, starting with robbing and sexually assaulting a 65-year-old woman. It's believed he killed another woman shortly after. Police questioned him regarding the murder, but he wasn't arrested. Afterward, he fled to Chicago. On July 13th, 1966, Richard Speck broke into a townhouse, which was home to 9 female nursing students. And the details of his massacre are absolutely brutal. While holding the students in a room for hours, he led them out one by one and killed them. His method of murder was either stabbing them, strangling them, or both. He also forced himself onto one of the victims before killing her. In total, Speck killed 8 of the 9 students, with the only one surviving by hiding under a bed and waiting for Speck to leave before calling for help. On April 15th, 1967, Richard Speck was sentenced to death, but that was changed to a 100-year sentence in 1972. Initially claiming he was drunk and high during the massacre, he later admitted he would have done the same thing sober. While imprisoned, Speck died of a heart attack on December 5th, 1991. Of all the inmates on our list, this next one definitely has the scariest nickname, and for good reason.
He not only liked eating the flesh of these children, but drinking their blood, and that also gave him a feeling of great satisfaction.
Albert Fish was born in Washington, D.C. in 1870. He was also known as the Gray Man or the Boogeyman, and his horrific crimes are to blame. Obsessed with inflicting pain, both on himself and others, Fish was known to hit himself with a paddle covered in nails. He was found to have dozens of sewing needles inside of his body, mainly around his groin area. When he wasn't torturing himself, his victims, mainly children, would have to endure excruciating agony. Although an exact number was never confirmed, police believed he killed up to 15 children. In 1928, Fish, who was 58 years old at the time, tortured 10-year-old Grace Budd and sent a letter to her family describing his gruesome crimes. Guys, I'm not going to explain them here because they are absolutely horrendous. In 1934, Albert Fish was arrested and admitted to killing Grace and other children. He tried to plead insanity, claiming voices in his head told him to kill his young victims. Although numerous psychiatrists did claim he was insane, the jury didn't care, and Fish was sentenced to death by electric chair. On January 16, 1936, Albert Fish was executed at New York State's Sing Sing prison. Knowing what's going on around you, traveling in groups, and trusting your instincts are all good ways to avoid being a victim of a serious crime. Of course, every situation is unique, but I'd say these tips are a good place to start. Well, that does it for me. Pretty messed up if you ask me. But if you want to learn more about terrifying inmates, check out our video on South America's toughest prisons. We'll see you next time on How to Survive.